Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats. The program is about to begin. Please find your seats. Our program is about to begin. Also, if anyone's missing a cell phone, you can find it here at the tech table here in the back right of the room. If you're missing a cell phone. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Our program will begin momentarily. Please find your seats. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, can you please take your seat? The program is about to begin. Thank you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Unto others, it's good for the soul. All stays with a unified goal. God bless America, that's how we roll.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I get to see you people. I've missed you guys. I've missed you so, so very much. You know, the uncertainty of life, right? So today in Surfside, obviously very early in the morning, you all may have seen that horrible building collapse. I know some of our members here, especially in the medical hospital, were calling and saying they can't be here because they're taking care of those folks. Our deepest hopes for the best outcome possible. So I know you all keep them in your hearts in Surfside. So life is uncertain, but listen, today, such a pleasure to be back today. You know, I was talking to some folks and they were saying, yeah, the virtual world is just that. It's the virtual world, but nothing like 37 trillion human cells. Did you know that? And I felt them all when I hugged you guys. I felt 37 trillion human cells. So I guess officially then I get to do this. I didn't get to do this a whole year, guys. I took this one time and I never got to do that. So here I'm going to do it hard too. Oh, here we go. We're open. We're open. So it's the 2021 Goals Conference and Annual Meeting. Welcome all. So happy to see you. Thank you for taking time. I know you're busy. You're running your businesses. And I really want to thank you for joining us today, those that were here. And also we have that other virtual world. So where are they? Let me see them. Everybody say hi. Some of our board of directors. Hi, guys. Good to see you. There's a big virtual world out there and they're joining us. So I'm glad you're going to get some of the fun. You look great, by the way. You look great with all your, we're going to do a judging, right? Of who's got the best back thing or whatever it is, right? So past chairs, where are my past chairs? Are they here? Some are in the audience. There's one, there's Bruce. Where do we got? Felipe, where's Felipe? I can't see, the lights are dark. Where's Felipe? I can't see you. No, how about in the virtual world? Do I have past chairs? Adolfo was there. Okay, so thank you for joining us, past chairs. I will now be in, there he is. Hi, Adolfo. Huh? And Rosa too? Is Rosa there? I'm going to be joining the past chairs today. I'm going to be joining that great group. I think there's going to be a lot of like, you know, like the kids in the back that talk and do misbehave. I think that's the group I'm going to be joining. So anyway, all this can't happen without our sponsors, right? Sponsors are making these events happen for us. So I want to give a big thank you out to our sponsors. You should have them up there. Let me see. Alfred went high tech on me. I'm telling you, I went from a little laptop to like, I've got technology all over the place. Let me start with the presenting sponsor. Fiserv, where are you? Thank you, thank you. Platinum conference sponsor. How about Career Source, South Florida? Gold sponsors. Who doesn't love gold? Where are you? AvMed, Bank of America, CITT. How about FIU? Where are you, FIU? Lights are bright. Oh my God, Florida Power and Light. Yeah, all right. Bronze sponsors, BDO. Where are you, BDO? UHealth. Silver sponsor, South Florida Business Journal. We love them, great. So with that, let me turn over the floor, please, to our presenting sponsor. How about Shane Caldwell? Can you join us, Vice President, Business Development and Strategy? And let me tell you, if you don't like this outfit, there's something wrong with you. Come on.
Before you go, I'm sure this is going to happen a lot to her.
Yeah, I do.
So,
I like gifts too.
Yes,
so
well, that's what's about to happen. So Irene, we want to give you something a little sweet. And this lady's amazing. I was telling her husband, he's got a good one here, and she's an amazing chair. And so with that, I've got you over here. Stay with her. So, hopefully you'll share this with your husband.
I will.
So I call this Fiserv candy, but it's not really Fiserv candy, but because it's orange, which is one of our flagship colors, we've got that for our outgoing chairman. And then I also have this beautiful Fiserv back to business bag. So this is for you. Thank you so much. You
Thank
betcha.
you so much. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Awesome, Shane. Thank you.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh, let me take these notes.
I
give
think
you
he
the
wants
floor.
he wants a camera moment.
Yeah,
this guy here.
wait. Let me do something here with the candy.
Oh, wait, remember you have to do this thing? I
Oh
don't know.
yeah, move over. Yeah, we're making up for picture lost time, right? Thank you so much. Shane.
Well, good morning, everybody. This is a spot that Mr. Rick Beasley is envious of. So, and I don't plan on giving up this sponsor spot as well as the Economic Summit sponsor spot anytime soon. So you can chew on that, Mr. Beasley. That's all I've got for you there. And our back and forth is really entertaining Alfred, who at the end of the day, he's seeing the revenue come in. So that's goodness. So who's Fiserv? Why would Fiserv care about sponsoring chambers? And one of the things that I tell folks a lot about is that Fiserv, even during the pandemic, and this isn't our first rodeo, we've been doing this plus 20 years, but it really came into fruition for us when we saw the pandemic hit hard. When the pandemic hit hard, we wanted to make sure we got out and started talking to community partners. That includes chambers. I have the responsibility here in Florida, 6 major chambers, but I also provide leadership back to our corporation, about 45 plus chambers to include overseas. And what's exciting about this chamber, which I think will get it, that's me and you, Rick, we got to get to number 1, is to beat out the London chamber. That's probably the only chamber in my mind that's slightly ahead of us, and that's because they've got the whole of the UK, whereas this chamber only has South Florida, maybe Florida. We want to make sure that we dominate them in services, and I'll explain why I said that. But apart from that, this chamber is amazing. And I think for those that already have been a part of this chamber, they know, and I'm saying that from experience, that this is the number 1 chamber in Florida. It's not because we're spending money, it's because it's a fact, right? If you've been in any other chambers and you walk into the chamber offices of this chamber, you're gonna go, oh my gosh, these guys have stepped it up. And their community reach, which is why we chose them, was huge. And so with that, I'm just going to walk you through about who Fiserv is. Some of you know who Fiserv is. Some of you actually spent a little time at our booth when we talked about our Clover flagship. And so Fiserv at the end of the day is, you can think of Fiserv in 2 ways. We are a company that does processing, and we are also a company that does issuing. And so for the banks and you bankers that are out here, you kind of know Fiserv. If you don't know Fiserv, then you need to come talk to me. So something's wrong with your platform in your bank. I'm just saying. But if the other half of us is our merchant processing, and that merchant processing side is where we help 6 million plus customers, and that's who we have in our portfolio. And as you guys have customers that are customers as in merchants, you'll know that they need processing, whether it's virtual, digital commerce, or omni-channel. And so Fiserv can handle that. So just real quick, those are our aspirations, our values, and our purpose. The other thing I'd want you to know about is who we are. So again, I mentioned the issuing and the merchant processing side. We've been in business for 35 plus years. We've got nearly 15 billion in revenue as of last year. And that's, you think about the pandemic, probably think a lot of companies got hurt. We didn't. And the reason why we didn't hurt in terms of some of the revenue is because cash isn't king. And I've got a slide I want to show you as to why cash is no longer king and why we need to help these other merchants get to a point where they're doing digital, e-commerce, and omni-channel. 44,000 associates with 2,000 associates here in Florida. You've met 2 of the associates out there who come with me from time to talk about Clover. You also met one of my business analysts here today with me. These are the folks that help me make sure that my chamber presence is a good one. So one of the things that's unique about Fiserv is that we are investing a little over 500 million in tech and innovation. And I think that's important. And that's probably the one thing I want to just call out is that you've got a partner for the long haul. And we are really focused in on our ESG. That was sharing with Rick and Alfred. ESG is so important for major corporations. And for those that don't know what an ESG is, that's your environmental, social, and your governance. The street looks at that, the investors look at that. And as you as business owners are trying to get to the next level, whether you're looking for stockholders eventually, or you're just trying to increase your community presence, analysts are out there looking at your ESG. So if you don't have that, and you didn't hear that at the Economic Summit, you're now hearing it again from a member of this chamber, you gotta focus in on your ESG. So this part of that is you doing investments, what you see there. And I'm just going to buzz through these. So you see these back to business signs all over the place. Why is that? Well, during the pandemic, one of the answers to our call that our CEO, Mr. Frank Bisignano, did is he realized that in order to get the businesses to get jump started, to get them going again, you got to invest in helping them get their doors open. Part of that investment was joining members or joining chambers, which is what he did with the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. It's also grants. And so you see we've done about 800, actually that number's gone up to about 875 to date. In grants, we did so well that our company gave us another 50 million. So we started out with 10 million, invest that. We've now popped that up to 50 million. Just in Florida alone, 146 grants and growing. Doing some great things. My company and I are doing some great things with the Miami Dolphins, who are also members of this chamber, and we're increasing that give out. So stay tuned. That's what Back to Business, and that's what this is all about that you're seeing here. More on that. So I said cash is no longer king. Look what happened during the pandemic. This happened because folks didn't want to touch cash anymore. This happened because folks didn't want to get out and about and engage with each other, and we were using masks and we were separating ourselves. And so for those businesses that woke up and realized cash was no longer king, they then, let me make sure I don't go past this slide. They then realized, I knew that was going to happen, I'm a little bit delayed here. They didn't realize that I've got to change my business model. I've got to be more digital. I've got to be more of a business that allow for curbside, allow for online services. And so this slide here just tells you all of the areas that were impacted that we saw through our spend trends. And for folks who don't know, Fiserv provides, with our trillions and trillions of transactions, we provide this information to the government. The government then looks at that and says, all right, CPI is this, which is our consumer price index. And based on all of that, they make judgments. So they're constantly buying our reporting to make key judgments. And everybody has seen these businesses have to change the way they do business. So those are the new trends, things are coming out of that. You kind of see me dressed a little bit like the Chastain. Did this on purpose today. Got second place last Saturday. We're hoping for great things, or last Sunday, hoping for great things for this team. Again, just our footprint and who we're sponsoring and getting out and about in the community. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just bring you to this next slide. And just a kind of reminder, on your tables, you've got some Clover, a Clover layout. And all I want you to do is, as you leave here today, think about the fact that we're here to help. These are the devices that we have that'll actually get your commerce moving. But don't just think about this hardware. Think about the fact that we have software as well. So it's going to be my pleasure, my distinct pleasure, to bring this gentleman up, though he is my brother from another mother. No, we're not brothers. He's an interesting individual in that he's put down the gauntlet. He took it off. He slapped me upside the head during the economic summit and said, I will own that presenting sponsor spot. Yeah, good luck with that. But I do want to bring him up and give him a special gift. This is, if you'll come on over here, Rick. I do this at every one of the year-end reviews, so this is why I know he's not getting this sponsorship, though he thinks he's going to get it. And I want to present you with a couple bit of swag. So in here, we want to make sure he's wearing a Clover hat, right? All about Clover. Don't forget that you're with Fiserv now. You're a partner of us. Okay. We got a nice little mug for you here. Take that with you. But this is probably the most important thing, and that's going to be this ledger. We are expecting great things out of you, man. So any ideas you come up with, they need to go into this ledger, right? Because we know you're not using any technology. If I were to go and talk to your family, they probably are saying, no, you're still using pen and paper. So we want to give you this. We want to give you the pen, and we want to just say to you, we're expecting a lot of great things out of you. We know you're going to do great. I'm here to help you. Be great. Appreciate it. You betcha. You can put this all back in here. With that, I turn it over to the man of the hour.
You know, I'm going to keep it nice. But Pfizer, we do thank you for your support of this chamber. We are greatly appreciative of what you all do. But let me talk about another organization that is also fantastic, and that is Career Source South Florida. All right. We have the Career Source South Florida team in the back, but let me share with you all. Last year, we invested over $38 million in this community. We placed over 16,000 individuals in the jobs during the pandemic component. We generated well over $326 million of salaries back into this community. That's Career Source South Florida. So during this pandemic, our team jumped in. When our system failed in terms of getting people jobs, when our system failed at getting people their unemployment checks, I had a crew of folks led by a young parent, worked sun up to sundown from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night to ensuring that we had people assisting individuals getting their unemployment checks processed. Now that deserves an applause right there. Sun up to sundown from 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock at night, Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. But not with that, we also launched Operation Impact. We knew that the system failed in terms of assisting everyday citizens being able to have access to cash so they could put food on their tables, to pay their bills. So we launched an initiative that assisted in finding folks some jobs, helping them get back into training, but more importantly, we assisted them by helping them up to $1,000 to pay their bills. That's what Career Source South Florida does for our community, all right? And I can tell you, we served over 600 families. Half of those individuals were able to get employed very quickly. But more importantly, let me share with you what we've done in terms of our partnerships with the business community. It's not just assisting you finding employees, but when the pandemic hit, I reached out to Alfred Sanchez, Mike Finney, Joe Chi, Leroy Jones, and said, hey, look, I have an idea. Let's see how we can invest some resources in this community, and I need you all to help provide access to our small businesses to be able to keep their people employed. They did that. We put over $2 million on the street, and they were able to, I actually spent about 1.4 of that. About over 1,000 employers applied for the loan. It's called the Layoff Aversion Loan, or Layoff Aversion Fund, because it wasn't a loan, it was a grant. We gave up to $10,000 to our small businesses to help them keep their people working. That's what Career Source South Florida is doing. So let me share with you, I know right now we have a shortage of workers in this community. And I know that you all need assistance in finding workers. So reach out to Career Source South Florida. Our goal there is to help you broker talent, to match up with talent. But I'm so proud of the work that our staff has done. But more importantly, I'm glad of what we've of working with our chambers and to make sure that our business community have the talent, and also the resources to help them stay afloat. So Alfred, I can tell you, he strong-armed me. He had me in the corner. Y'all know Alfred and how he is, okay? You know Alfred. He said, if I don't get this money to be able to get these people working, I'm gonna have to take you down, Rick. I said, okay, no problem, Alfred, we'll do it. Now, I'm like 10 times bigger than Alfred, so that is a lot of work to take me down. But I would say this, Career Source, our role here is to help you as business owners, finding the talent, finding the needs of the folks that help grow your business. But I can tell you this chamber is doing some fantastic work, so I want to my hats off to Alfred. And our other partners, we have Mike Finney, I know he's here. Thank you, Mike, for being here. We had Joe Chi, thank you for the camel call. Thank you, Joe. Now, I know Leroy Jones is supposed to be here in the room. I can't see because all the lights, and of course, you all know I need my glasses on anyway. So, thank you. I can hear your voice. But if it wasn't for partners like this, we could not help our employers being able to have the resources to keep their people working and those innovative ideas. So let me share with you real quick, been partnering with Miami-Dade College. We have our new Madam President. Thank you so much, Madeline, for being here. Fantastic. And so what we're doing for the future, we've launched a partnership with Miami-Dade College. It's an initiative in partnership with our Mayor Carver. She's not here today, but she challenged not only Madeline, myself, Alfred, Mike, other leaders to launch Renew 305, and that's what we've done. Career Source South Florida has put in $1.5 million to ensure that our citizens get retrained, retooled, so that we can broker them to you all so they can get to work, get back to work. That is an initiative that requires all of our attention. But we're so thankful being a partner here. Again, our resources are to invest in talent. And so we are going to build talent for our community. So with that, I'm glad you all are here. I am so glad that we're here in person. You all don't know what that means to the chamber. I know it means a lot to you all being out in person. For those that, we're thankful that you came out to support us, but we became a family. I can't see Felipe, but Felipe and Irene, really a family. I would throw this out there, TD Bank, the most convenient bank, ching ching, that's residual right there. I told someone to please make sure that every time I say that throughout the year, I get a residual on that, okay? But it's been so great of working with these two individuals that CareerSource is making this investment to ensure that our chamber is the transformative chamber for our community. So with that, I welcome you all here. We're glad that we're here in person. We got a lot of stuff to do this week, and we're thankful for you all. So with that, have a good day.
So there you go. Those are two fabulous sponsors. One more time, remember these events are made possible by our sponsors. Fiserv. Do not say Pfizer. I got that shot, so I guess that's why. Fiserv, CareerSource South Florida. Let me do one more time. AvMed, Bank of America, CITT, FIU, Florida Power and Light, BDO, UHealth, and the South Florida Business Journal. Thank you, our sponsors. And with that, Alfred, if you can make your way up, please. We're gonna have a presentation by our president and CEO of this chamber, Alfred Sanchez. I want you to know, Alfred, that when I first met you, I am surrounded by Alfreds in my family. My father was Alfred. My oldest brother is Alfred. My dearest uncle was Alfred. I knew I was gonna like him right when I met him, and it's held true. Podium is yours, come on.
Thank you. I am certainly lucky. That's why you relish when she does, a lot of people call me Alfred. She goes, Alfredo. That's why. I'm gonna see if I can put this down somewhere. Anyway, thank you, Madam Chair, and welcome to all of you who are here with us in person and all of those who are attending virtually. Thank you for making time to be with us this morning. And I'm sorry that not everybody could be here in person. I know that we're all anxious to get back to normal, and this is our first step in that direction. This is actually our first major event in person, so thank you for being part of that. And I want to thank you, Fiserv, and thank you, CareerSource South Florida, for the sponsorship and making this happen. And I can attest to what Rick was saying because our staffs work hand in hand together, and I know that Tanya and her staff were working very closely, and that 8 to midnight sometimes, because I called you sometimes and you were up 7 days a week. It was amazing, and thank you for all you've done because it made a big difference. Today is the opening session of our annual meeting and goal-setting process designed to provide the attendees with thought-provoking dialogue and discussion around the Chamber's priorities for the coming fiscal year, which begins July 1st, next week. Tomorrow, we have two important addresses that I really want you all to be ready to attend. They're all going to be virtual, but it's extremely important. Everything that we've done this year is to inform you and our committees about what's going on. So tomorrow, we're going to hear from Neil Bradley, the COO of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and then from Mark Wilson, the CEO of the Florida Chamber of Commerce. They're going to be sharing with us seminal information regarding federal and state issues that you're going to need to inform the work that you're doing with your committees. Then on Monday and Tuesday, our committees are going to get together and they're going to put it all together to develop the goals that will form the bulk of what this chamber is going to be doing for the next year. So after today's installation ceremony, our agenda continues, so everybody stay in your seat. We're going to have the presentation of Leadership Miami's top group project and the Carlos Arboleda Award, two extremely coveted awards. And I know Kim Griffin-Hunter is here. She is a former Carlos Arboleda winner when she went through my Leadership Miami. So. And today, we're going to conclude the opening session with an address by Miami-Dade County's Chief Operating Officer, our very good friend, Jimmy Morales, who's going to discuss the future landscape of Miami-Dade and the challenges and opportunities that we're going to be facing here at home. And Jimmy's going to be introducing the newly appointed Department of Transportation Director and CEO, Mr. Eulois, Cleckley, Eulois, that's how you say his name, for the first time to this community. Now, transportation is extremely seminally important to us. We've got our transportation chairs here. This is our #1 issue, and it has been for many years. So it's really important that we have, right off the bat, a very close relationship with Eulois. And he's actually packing his home to move to Miami, so he'll be joining us virtually today. As the last piece of housekeeping business, I want to remind all the committee chairs and vice chairs that this afternoon we're going to be meeting to review the rest of the Goals Conference agenda, so you'll want to be there for that. And for those of you who are social media mavens, I know that they're out there, please use the hashtag. It's on almost every slide you'll see up there, hashtag 2021 Goals Conference, and like and tag us to spread the word. All right, so there's a lot to cover. Let's zoom in. I'm generally really excited to be with so many of you today because we're going to begin to get past one of the most challenging times in our history. My task today is to tell you about this past year with all its ups and downs, and to look at the chamber year ahead. Now, I'm going to give you a spoiler. The chamber years ahead looks very exceptionally positive. So I'm going to share with you the strategic direction, and I'm going to close with news about an exciting program which will be incredibly valuable to our small businesses at just the right time. I can't begin by looking back without recognizing the hardships and the heartaches that we've suffered this past year and a half. Perhaps the greatest challenge that all of us are ever going to face in our lifetimes. As we are all aware, the global economy was tremendously impacted, experiencing the deepest decline in global GDP since World War II. Estimates are that about 95 million people, 95 million people entered into extreme poverty in 2020 as a result of COVID. Global public debt soared as governments spending trying to mitigate the disaster ballooned to $12 trillion across the world. The unemployment was high at 14.8%. And even the 5.8% that we see in Florida today is a far, far cry from where we were at 3.5% in February of 2020. Remember, here in Miami, we were at 1.8. So Miami-Dade, our community has taken severe, severe economic hits because hospitality and tourism were so dramatically affected. Almost 40% of the job sectors in that area were affected, and 34% plus, basically, there was a 34% plus drop in visitors to the state. Now, Miami economy is also fueled by small businesses, and many of those are minority and women-owned businesses, which suffered the most for a myriad of different reasons. And I could go on and on and on, but here's the positive news. Our economy is set to come back faster in Miami and in South Florida than any other part of the state or the country. A recovery which is fueled by pent-up desire to travel to such a beautiful place, and in part by the many tech companies and finance companies that are moving down here with higher paying jobs. Things are indeed getting better, but it's not over yet. The world has paid an unimaginable toll in human lives to this dreaded disease. In Florida, though, things are really starting to turn. As a whole, we are 44% fully vaccinated, and 56% have at least one dose. And in Miami, we're leading the state with 53% of our 12-year-olds and higher being fully vaccinated. And this is great news, 68% with at least one dose. Yeah, that's worth a clap, absolutely. That's gonna mean quick recovery. Now, we've all experienced the effects of COVID on our own and our families' physical and emotional well-being. I know we have. We've had to watch from afar as loved one goes through unspeakable pain and suffering, while we could only offer virtual comfort and support. That was the year that was. We lost so many people close to us, either to the disease or during its long imposed night. And I think it's important that we take a moment to silently remember some of those we could not say goodbye to in person. You know, there were all so many more. And while we couldn't show them all, I know that we have them all in our hearts nonetheless. May they rest in peace. Now, dark clouds tend to have silver linings. And if you haven't heard it before, I'm sure you've heard it by now. Never let a good crisis go to waste. And most of us have used that sage advice to make changes, incorporating technologies, forming alliances that are going to help us flourish in the post-COVID world. And that was certainly true of your chamber. I can't convey enough how proud I am of the staff and the volunteers for the remarkable way that they rallied. And that spirit was visible all around. Let's remember that even in one of the most divisive political times in our nation's history, our leaders, our political leaders, were able to put their differences aside and come together to help our community and our country. The CARES Act was put together to deliver $2 trillion in just 2 weeks, which is an unheard of speed of action by Congress, even in the least consensus of time. And I think that was really a tribute to how we came together. While Congress passed the CARES Act, we saw our local businesses and government leaders, and your chamber among them, leap into action. We worked together to ensure that Florida received its share of the bailout funds. Florida was number 3 in the country, behind California and Texas, in the amount of relief funds that we were able to secure, thanks to all our bankers out there. With no playbook to follow, we came together as a community. We developed guidelines, safety measures that probably saved countless of lives and allowed us to open our economy before almost all others, while we kept our community safe and we got our companies back in business. Being open changed Florida's economic forecast. From a predicted $6 billion budget shortfall, we ended up with only $2 billion. A gap that was further narrowed by the $10 billion infusion from the Federal American Rescue Plan. Because we were open safely, our companies embraced new ways of operating, leaning into technology, and capitalizing on remote working. Because Miami was open, corporate leaders from across the country realized that Miami was an amazing place to do business. And that helped hasten migration of tech companies to us, which we've been striving to accomplish for the last 10 years. I know that we all know that our city mayor became a tech celebrity, encouraging companies to come and consider us. Now, did we have major challenges? Of course we did. We were learning on the fly, and businesses were clearly overwhelmed. Many businesses did not survive, but many more did. And our community averted an even worse economic crisis and health disaster by taking quick, decisive action. We should be encouraged that despite the losses, the scars, the disagreements, the separation, we all came together to survive. And I know that together, we're all going to thrive. So I'm filled with much hope for the future. because I've seen us accomplish so much in the last year and a half, despite the painful losses. And the Chamber was not immune. Our organization, as most others, had to withstand financial blows we've never seen before. Many valued members started cutting back on expenses, and Chamber membership became a casualty. Of course, the shutdown meant the loss of events and networking opportunities that are the hallmark of the Chamber. But we leaned into the disaster. We retrained our staff and pivoted to provide assistance to businesses in need. And thanks to Career Source South Florida, we secured a grant to help us do so. Our new expertise helped us capitalize on some of that assistance programs being offered as well. The assistance dollars, the grants, and the swift fiscal measures we deployed meant that the Chamber will end up this year with almost 38% more cash in the bank than when we started pre-COVID. Part of the financial accomplishment is due in no small part to a tremendously successful Stand in My Shoes event that will honor Dave Lawrence Jr. September 30th at Jungle Island. Let me just take a quick departure and the opportunity to announce that we have set an all-time record for this event. Can you believe it in the pandemic? Thanks to our co-chairs, Joe Natoli of Baptist Health, Rudy Fernandez at UM, and our very beloved Penny Schaefer of Florida Blue, this was made possible. Now, I know that many of you in this room have been waiting for individual seats to go on sale. Many of the board members have been asking me almost daily. And today marks the official opening of individual ticket sales. So if you want to attend, and I know that you'll want to be there at the celebration of the year, follow the link that the staff is dropping on the chat for those of you online. And for those of you who are here, there's a link on the screen that you can follow. Now, I urge you, don't wait, because I mean this, there are very few seats left. And I know that we all want to be there to honor Miami's, Florida's, and even children's beloved champion. All right, so back to the Chamber. Now, the Chamber's success was also a result of hard work of a truly dedicated staff and board who pour all of their selves, their souls into a Chamber that, because of their deep-dyed belief in it, in an institution that for 114 years has played a historical role in shaping Miami. I think the founders of the Chamber would be very proud of how this organization conducted itself through the crisis. Let me focus on our many achievements and how they have led the path for our future. First, our strategic plan. Thanks to Kaufman and Ross and team led by James Wolcott, Ralph McNamara, and the Strategic Planning Committee, many of you are here, we delivered a strategic plan that outlined some extremely important priorities, directions, and guides for the next 5 years. And it couldn't have come at a better time. This plan was put together after much research, surveying hundreds of members, holding dozens of focus groups and conversations with top leaders and stakeholders. We used all the learning from that information to set the goals for the future, beginning with a refresh of our vision and mission statement. Our vision is to be the champion of businesses in Greater Miami in times of prosperity and hardship. And our mission is to grow, improve, and protect Greater Miami businesses by advocating, educating, and convening. And we set 3 strategic goals to guide us towards the future. We will center ourselves around members' needs. That's the one. We will work to enable member success. And we will build, nurture, and lead a resilient business environment. Pretty good goals for the times. Now, those goals have been at the forefront of all the decision-making throughout the pandemic. And here's how. Centering around member needs. Okay, so COVID certainly put that goal to the test, and I'm proud to say that we met the challenge. We conducted membership outreach by surveys, contacting almost every member, a single member, either directly or by email, to see how they were doing, to see how we could help. Thanks to Wolfgang Pinther of BDO MBAF and the South Florida Business Journal, we were able to survey our business community multiple times throughout this crisis. This gave us a dynamic picture of businesses and the assistance they needed to find solutions. We also wanted to document those developing needs to help plan for the future crisis. I mean, you know, let's when we go through this again, and we will, let's make sure we have a playbook. We learned a great deal in those surveys, and we were able to provide that information to community leaders. We saw that businesses were at 60% fully open now. We saw optimism for the future at an all-time low, with 13% at the beginning, moved to a much higher now recently. By the way, that new survey is out. Last one of the pandemic we'll be doing. And we know that our businesses' optimism has really increased. 37% of the businesses reported needing less office space because they were leaning into teleworking, and 49% of those businesses have more than half of their employees still working remotely. Our staff and committees use this information to develop programming focused on what the businesses need, programming providing access to information, leaders and organizations that could help them cope. We held 33 webinars that attracted 7,000 registrants to workshops featuring members and experts in accounting, HR, the legal field, as well as our partners, the SBA, the Beacon Council, the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau. They all helped guide our businesses through a maze of available financial aid and fast-moving developments. We were also able to attract national figures and speakers, such as Senator Marco Rubio, who played a leading role in crafting the America's CARES Act. We heard from Mark Morial, President and CEO of the National Urban League, who gave a rousing and inspiring address at our Novo Awards. And we had unprecedented cooperation among our committees, with the New World Center, Education, and Tech committees bringing insightful conversations around the burgeoning technology industry, investment opportunities, and the need for talent development in areas key to keeping those businesses here. Thanks to the hard work of Jay Pelham and Gladys Reed, we had a very successful economic summit. That summit brought in a measure of creativity, with Pitbull and Romero Brito discussing the entertainment and cultural arts industry that is still alive and thriving in Miami. We are all blessed to have close working relationships with our government leaders, both on a political and administrative side. We were addressed by county and city mayors several times. We had occasion to hear from County Commissioner Eileen Higgins, Housing Director Michael Liu, FDOT Area Secretary Stacy Miller, just when she recently came in, our very own Eileen Bouclé, and Alice Bravo. We had conversations with state legislators, including Jeff Brandis and Representative Nick Duran, and so many others that, we're not going to go through them all, but I think I've impressed upon you a lot of relationships. GMCC Cares, the program that began by aiding businesses trying to access CARES Act funding, CARES, it quickly grew to encompass all of our initiatives surrounding small businesses. Our staff was trained in 12 different business assistance programs, among them PPP, EIDL, the retention and tax credit programs, and many, many more. We assisted 127 businesses with information and direct help accessing much needed capital. And estimated probably $1 million were applied for as a direct result of our assistance. I want us to hear from one of those folks right now.
As a consultant in the aviation space, 2020 was a very tough year for me. The Chamber helped me navigate the PPP program, and with their help, I was able to get a loan that allowed me to keep my office open. I am very grateful. Thank you, Chamber.
We all know Anna. Thanks to our partnership with CareerSource South Florida, the Chamber was able to offer, as Rick was telling us before, layoff aversion grants. 469 businesses applied and were processed with 193 applications approved or in process of approval. That means that another $1 million were distributed to small business owners because of this effort. Some of those small mom and pop shops were in desperate need of support in order to survive. Here's another testimonial.
Hi, and welcome to Kids for Kids Academy. We want to offer our biggest thanks for our layoff aversion grant. Your grant helped us to stay open. I want to show you what we bought. $10,000 worth of plexiglass to keep our kids safe during COVID. All of our students have their own individual plexiglass workspaces to keep them safe. We even put little mask holders for them to hold the masks. Take a peek at what your money bought us. Thank you again from Kids for Kids Academy.
And they weren't members. You know, that academy, we actually got a chance to see some of the pictures with the kids there. That academy allowed them to open up their schools and have the kids there safely, which is tremendously important to our workers who are trying to, do their job as well. And combined with our small business assistance efforts, this all resulted in 320 businesses gaining access to needed capital, totaling $2 million in direct service, and another 5,500 businesses benefited from our workshops and webinars. This is what the Chamber is all about, and this is why we are integral to this community. Now, we're working to enable member success. Our survey indicated that many members needed expert advice to help them navigate through the pandemic. So we've got a lot of expert advice. We created GMCC Connects, leveraging the powerful resources of all of our members to help one another. We also help members wanting to offer their services to connect with our government leaders. I know we spent a lot of time with Amazon connecting with the city. And number 3, build, nurture, and lead a resilient business environment. We started GMCC Unites. Now, we knew that Black-owned businesses, small businesses, suffer disproportionately greater impact than other businesses. So we developed the Unites program to assist and promote Black-owned small businesses and help them recover by helping them grow and get plugged in to the very powerful Chamber membership. Let's hear from one of those Unites members.
I'm Sharice Chester, owner of Creative Vision Media. When I read the Miami Herald article about the GMCC Unites program, I was so motivated to participate in the program. What was my thought at the time? Finally, an organized business development program to connect entrepreneurs in a mentor-protege relationship. I say since I've launched, I joined the transportation committee to learn more about what's going on in the community. I've attended virtual events, and I've engaged with other Chamber members. I commend the Chamber, Irene, Alfred, and their team for the vision and investment of resources to conduct this program. This program provides Black-owned firms, such as myself, with an opportunity to build business relationships with larger companies, network with each other as Black-owned firms, and of course, prepare us to become members and GMCC Unites mentors in the future as we grow our companies.
I'm really very proud of that program. We have a few founding companies that are here with us: AT&T, CareerSource, FPL, I think FIU. I'm probably missing one or two, and I apologize for that. But if you're interested in being a part of that, either by sponsoring someone yourself or being a mentor to someone, please please see me or one of our staff, because this is a program, we've got 30 people, 30 members in through this program. We want to double that next year. And there's some great things coming out of some of those members. They really jumped in and seized the opportunity. And I'll tell you later on in the year about some of those. But also let me talk a little bit about advocacy. It's been and will be an even greater part of the Chamber's DNA. That's because a majority of part of nurturing a resilient business community is ensuring a close partnership between business and government. The Chamber has developed close relationships with our legislative leaders at all levels of government, not just 1 or 2 times a year during a fly-in, but year-round. And we've been present consistently in County Hall, in City Hall, in Tallahassee, and in the halls of the US Capitol. All the accomplishments that we have achieved were as a result of laser-focused leadership by Jose Bermudez, Alex Dominguez, and our Government Affairs Committee, and of course, our very beloved Vice President of Government Affairs, Spencer Pilot. I think they deserve a hand. This past year, all of our legislative priorities had major bills attached to them. And many of those priorities we promoted ended up with great results. One we were especially proud of was COVID-19 liability protection. This is created to provide civil liability protection to all of our businesses who were opening safely from heedless and needless lawsuits. As a part of our advocacy, we held candidate forums in some of the most important races, such as the mayor's race, where longtime member Daniela Levine Cava emerged as victorious, and the race for Florida Senate seat 39, where longtime Chamber member and Leadership Miami graduate Ana Maria Rodriguez prevailed. And to crystallize and maximize our advocacy efforts moving forward, our board created the Chamber PAC with an overwhelming majority vote of 95%. There's actually a feature of that in this week's Miami Today, if you haven't seen it. Thank you to Michael and Carmen for supporting and covering this initiative. Through we call it Committee for a Greater Miami, the Chamber will inform, educate, and support the issues that are important to our members and to the business community. It comes at a particularly important time with the upcoming election next year. We just had a tremendous one last year. And I'm delighted to announce that the committee board has elected Tony Arguez as the first chairman. Yeah, I know we're all excited about that appointment. Tony is a savvy business leader who has displayed great commitment to our community throughout his entire professional life. And he's sure to do wonderful things as a champion for business in this new capacity. Leadership Miami, they've just done an incredible job. Because beyond our political work, our community benefited from the commitment that our Leadership Miami participants and graduates took to ensure that we had a hands-on approach to problem solving. To that end, the Chamber created the Leadership Miami Go team. And they went out and got trained to help deal with a broad range of man-made and natural disasters. We also teamed up with many of our legislators to distribute thousands of meals during the worst of the pandemic. You may have seen them on the news and not realize that they were Leadership Miami folks. Thanks to our Leadership Miami staff and board for doing a great job and leading from the front. So leading from the front, let's talk about the year ahead. Over the next few days of our goals conference, we're going to outline and work the goals of our committees to align those goals with the strategic plan and give us a blueprint for both current and future success. To ensure that each goal is on target, we're going to be using a strategy screen. We put that on the strategy screen will ensure that every single initiative meets at least one or more of the following outcomes: diversifying and expanding our revenues, delivering member value, advocating for a healthy business environment, and focusing on diversity, inclusion, and equity. Those, if your goals don't check off at least one of those, toss out the goal. This assures that when we're focusing on those goals, that we're going to strengthen our local economy, ensure the Chamber's continued growth in membership, and we're going to further connect and support our members' success. So we have some objectives. As we work on to outline committee priorities, we're going to have internal and external objectives that are going to be organized across committees around desired outcomes. That was one of the major things that came out of our strategic plan. Organize around the changes that we want to make in the community. Our internal objectives are going to be simple, and every committee should have something along the lines of growing membership and helping members connect. Our external objectives are to strengthen our economy, and that's one of the top ones. We have a unique opportunity to develop a hub of higher paying jobs through recent migration of those tech companies and finance companies. But that will require that we grow the workforce needed to fill those jobs and keep them here. That will be crucial, a crucial aspect to success. Otherwise, these companies are going to leave as quickly as they can. We must continue to help small businesses grow. We need to help connect and engage and root that growing industry. And supporting international travel and trade is also key. We need to get back to pre-pandemic trade levels. We always think about tourism, but trade is the other major industry here. This is going to be another key focus. Thankfully, we've got the foreign trade zone. Very few chambers in the country have that. And that actually has been growing organically over the past year. And the great news is we're going to have our own area expert, Leanne Ventura, focused full-time on expanding and growing that area of our business. As we work to strengthen today's economy, we have opportunities to ensure our future. We have a downtown that has grown to fulfill the dreams that Alva Chapman had 40 years ago when he envisioned this very skyline and incorporated the New World Center Committee 50 years ago. But there's much more to do. We need to work together with our partners like the DDA, may I ask rest in peace, and the city to ensure that all our downtown remains livable to a broad range of residents and addresses the transportation, the affordable housing, and the infrastructure improvements that have to be made. We need to develop the future leaders that are equipped for a new era of leadership. So we're going to be looking at our Leadership Miami and our Senior Executive Orientation programs to do that and to really pivot a little bit in their programming to ensure that in the future. And talk about ensuring the future, we're at the precipice of major federal and state infrastructure funding. And this chamber needs to work with our partners to assure that Greater Miami has a lion's share of those dollars. This includes transportation, septic to sewer conversion, sea level rise mitigation. I know Irela's smiling out there somewhere. And lastly, if we've learned nothing at all in this pandemic, we've learned the importance of businesses being able to provide their employees with health care. The need is tremendously compelling. According to the Department of Labor, the families of millions of American small business workers, that's the backbone, lack employer-sponsored health care insurance. And that was before COVID-19. I'm sure things are worse now. We know that many small businesses want to offer their employees insurance, but they simply can't afford it. To their employees, healthcare is paramount in their benefits. Glassdoor found that employees rated health insurance as the single most important benefit they receive from their employer. A study from MetLife found that 60% of employers say that offering health insurance has led to actual higher productivity levels. And the CDC found that employers who prioritize preventing care, like regular checkups, are more productive at work. Offering affordable health care means employers will see higher staff retention and a more competitive compensation package, which is going to help them lure a higher caliber of employee. It increases morale and leads to higher productivity. Now, some of you know that the Chamber has been diligently working for over 3 years now to find viable, affordable, and robust healthcare coverage for our members. And today, I'm thrilled to announce that that solution is here. The Chamber, along with our partners at AvMed Health Plan, have developed the Greater Health Trust, a program which allows small businesses to access affordable health insurance for their employees. I want to bring to the stage my friend, the COO and president of AvMed Health Plan, Jim Rep. Come on in.
Thank you, Alfred. And everyone knows Alfred. Alfred called me last week about this opportunity, and he teed this up like this announcement was going to be something on par with what Apple does, the iPad, and he told me to dress accordingly. So that's right. So in case anyone was confused, I'm not Steve Jobs. I'm not Tim Cook. I'm Jim Rep with AvMed. So, but in all seriousness, this really is a big announcement. How big? It really depends on the size of the problem. There we go. Sorry about that. There we go. As Alfred said, small employers struggle with offering health care to their employees, and small employers have really been under siege for the last 18 months. They've experienced unprecedented economic challenges, new costs to manage the pandemic, and have had challenges hiring and retaining employees, and healthcare plays a key role in that. When you look at the market size of small businesses, over 82,000 small businesses here in Miami-Dade, over 2 million around Florida. 53% of the workforce is employed through small businesses. And it plays a critical role and is really, as Alfred says, small businesses are the incubators of innovation and play a critical role in this economy. Also, over the last year, I think we've all gained a greater appreciation for the importance of health and, more importantly, healthcare and access to high quality, affordable healthcare. Unfortunately, with small businesses, that coverage has continued to decline. Back in 2015, over 1 million people were covered through small employer plans, still a small percentage of overall employees. That's dwindled now to be below 500,000 and continues to decline. So the importance of creating affordable coverage, because the biggest aspect of that is really the affordability of care. Here in Miami-Dade County, it costs small employers roughly $6,000 per employee per year to offer affordable, competitive coverage. So if you go back, I think, Alfred, what was it, a couple years ago? We were having lunch at Cafe Abrace, I think, and started to compare notes about this problem. And what we really quickly determined was that we had great alignment. The efforts and the focus of the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce on creating a vibrant business community, and AvMed, a not-for-profit health plan that's been headquartered here in Miami for 50 years and is really committed on improving the overall health of our communities. And obviously, small employers and the employees of small businesses play a critical role in that. So that's why we're extremely excited today to announce the not only the formation, but the launch of the Greater Health Trust, which is a partnership between Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce and AvMed, powered by AvMed. It's a separate entity that's filed with the state, and it offers what's called a multiple employer welfare arrangement. And I know all of us were very relieved earlier this week that we got the final certificate of authority. So we're actually in business, I think, as of earlier this week. And that deserves a big round of applause. What the Health Trust is a separate entity. To access the Health Trust and the benefits that come out of the Health Trust, small businesses need to be a member of the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. And through that membership, will be able to access affordable health care offered by AvMed. Same type of health care that we offer to employer groups ranging in size from the state of Florida all the way down to 1 and 2 employee small businesses. We've been doing that for 50 years. The great thing about the benefits of the trust is that we're able to create and produce premiums that are about 30% lower than the marketplace, 30% lower. And we really feel that this will be critical to improving the offering from small businesses, improving the competitiveness of small businesses here in South Florida, and being able to attract and retain high-quality employees in all of these new businesses that are going to grow out of all of the other efforts that the Chamber is working on. I won't go through all the specifics of this. You'll have plenty of time to hear from me as well as the rest of my team over the course of the next months and years through this partnership. But absolutely excited about I'm excited about the next page. Maybe it's a clapper, I don't know. There we go. So as we said, earlier this week, got the official certificate of authority to start. So you'll start to see marketing as we launch this product to the broader community and really look to grow this aggressively through the end of the year and into the first part of next year. And more importantly, be able to offer a real important business, value-added business benefit to all of the members of the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. So with that, let me say thank you. Congratulations, Alfred, Mary Lou, and everyone else. We're looking forward to the partnership.
Wow. Wow, that's really great, isn't it? I mean, another hand for AvMed. Thank you very much. His team is here, Ashley and others. They've worked. Listen, he's right. We met at Cafe Abrace 2 years ago, and it's been, nose to the grindstone ever since, and we've worked a great deal. It's just been an incredible partnership, and just so much more coming. How many of us wouldn't love to go from paying $6,000 an employee to $4,000 an employee? I know I would. So thanks to Jim and our friends at AvMed. Listen, we're finally going to be able to offer affordable health care for our small businesses. And as I conclude the update, I wish to convey how truly proud I am of everything our organization has done and accomplished throughout this very challenging time. And while many of the other challenges, I'm sure, are coming, and certainly we haven't gotten over this one quite yet, I have great faith that our leadership will continue to see us grow and see us through. Lastly, I want to thank the outgoing board for their incredible work. I want to thank my incredible partner, Irene White, for doing an amazing job, and I know more to come. And I want to tell Rick Beasley and the incoming board, Roberto Munoz, Amy Furness, that I look forward to a great year ahead, a year of growth and achievement. Thank you, everybody, for your attention on this. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my duty to ask you to please help me warmly welcome back to the stage, one final time as your chair, Ms. Irene White.
Very sweet. That's very nice. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Oh, this is thing. That's awesome. That's awesome. I felt the 37 trillion times. I'd love to be able to do that math that quickly in my brain of all the warmth here in the room. So yes, these are my farewell remarks. I know that I'm going to continue to be obviously an incredible part of this chamber. I would never give up this chamber. My gosh, the connections you make here, the networking, the people you know. If you're not here, you're missing out on a very important piece of Miami. So as I put together my farewell remarks, I'm old school. I like files. If you don't like a file, too bad. I don't care. I love these. Somebody said something like, you know, it's gone digital now. I said, yeah, I guess we could do that too. But I went back and I pulled the file, right? Because nothing like pull the file out. Let's look at it, right? And, you know, so imagine same time period last year. I think Alfred was going through his you know, basically review of everything that's been done. But imagine, we all know, right? So it was this time period last year, so June of 2020, same time I was with Felipe, the previous chair who I had such a great time working with. And what we all knew, right? So the COVID rates were continuing to spike up. You know, the hospital systems, the medical people were challenged, they were taxied, right? We had, you know, the ICU beds, right? All those metrics that came around COVID just was looking very, 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 very difficult for the world, our country, right? All of us here. And I think that, you know, when I remember that, I'll share with you a kind of a little secret about me. I really had this thought that I didn't tell anybody, not even my husband. I said, look, here comes the Miami summer, here comes the heat, right? And that plus all of the bleach that we like to clean with, right? We're gonna eradicate this virus. This virus is going downtown, you know? I held that hope, right? But obviously, that was not to be. There's no amount of bleach and cleaning and heat that we could have given this thing to have been able to wipe this out. So there was the launch of fiscal year 21. It was with all of that uncertainty. And I know that we all felt this, right? We felt this because, you know, it was fear. I guess for the first time, maybe I really felt fear about what tomorrow is going to bring, right? So, I think that a lot of times, you know, and I went back, right? Went back to the notes, right? And I think we outlined it, what we're going to do as a chamber to get through this together. And we said we're going to start with a lot of discipline, a lot of focus, a lot of drive, and a lot of courage, right? And that's what we outlined. We're going to stick to that. And I think you saw that Alfred outlined an incredible amount of work, right, that was completed, right? And the last with our friends here with Ahmed, that I just think that's phenomenal. We're so excited about it. And you look at it, and it's a combination of two things for this chamber, the accomplishments. It's two things. Things where we had to pivot quickly and make some things happen, and things that were a lot of work, a lot of years, and now they come to fruition and you get to reap the benefits of it. So I'm going to go through it again. Alfred started, but highlights that come up in my mind, back again to my beautiful notes, right? That development of the strategic plan, critical to any organization that moves forward, is to have a strategic plan that's actionable, that people are looking at, that people are working through. A lot of analysis went through there. I thank everybody that participated in that. It's tremendous. I think it's going to frame us up for the next 5 years and give us a lot of direction to continue keep the eye on the ball. You know, the pivot, support that we gave to our business community, GMCC Cares, right? Rick, and all the involvement there, everything that the staff did, that was a fast pivot. That was quick movement by the chamber. Very proud of that. The GMCC Unites, I think we built it, right? We're going to focus on diversity, but we've included that in our leadership, in membership, in processes, right? That was a quick pivot by this chamber to move something forward that needed to happen. You know, the caliber of speakers that were brought to us. So technology gave us something that, well, you know, you got a speaker and he doesn't have to travel into the downtown area. He can make it, he or she can make it here quickly. We had incredible information that was brought to the membership. Alfred showed a lot of those folks up there. And that was a very, I thought, very important thing to bring that constant information to our membership so that they had it. I thought, you know, it was a fun political year, right? Politics can be fun, why not? I thought we had some of the best political forums out there. I thought they were great. I thought the you know, very, very respectful debates, but I thought those were great. The financial forums were excellent, a lot of great information. So I think we were able to bring that. We made some smart staff organizational changes. So this is gonna like manifest itself later, right? We're gonna see continued gains of our chamber success by having great alignment of resources, right? We all know that the key to all evil is poor organizational design. And once you make changes, I think the team gets a little better. So I think that's going to be great for our chamber. You know, the launch of the Political Action Committee, that took a while. That wasn't a, you know, turn it over. That involved Felipe, that involved a lot of people in years sticking with the plan. And I think that's something here that we see in leadership. We have continuity of leadership with our chamber. What does that mean? That means that we are very united in all the decisions that we're making today, because it's going to give us a better tomorrow, right? So all of the past chairs, the chairs that are coming before us, understand the road we're on and how we're going to take the chamber forward. You know, and then I guess that healthcare trust, bringing that to the finish line, that wasn't easy. You can't just flip that on a switch if you're competition out there. It's a lot of work. You don't want to take that on, right? We did it, pulled it off, and I'm very happy about that. And it's great that we're able to announce it here as we start our fiscal year 22. So most importantly, I know we talked about cash, financial position. This chamber is in a very, very strong financial position going into fiscal year 22. So I know Mary Lou works very hard at that. Mary Lou is here. The treasurer, where are you? I think Alex, we got the best treasurer in town. All right, strong position is very important going into the next fiscal year, Mr. Beasley, so you know you've got that. So with that, now I want to turn this to a lot of gratitude, right? A lot of gratitude for all the work that's been done with a lot of people. A lot of volunteers here work each and every day to make this chamber what it is today. Alfred, great year, great presentation of all the work that's been done. Mary Lou, Susan, what a glue you are. I don't know what I'd do without Susan. Executive committee, the committee chairs and vice chairs, you guys are the lifeblood of the chamber. I thank you so very much. The board of directors, are you guys here? I want to give you a big applause for all of the support and work throughout this year. It was really, truly my pleasure to have worked with you on so many different projects. I want to thank my company, Florida Power and Light. Listen, the corner of Lejeune and Flagler, I think it's the best intersection in all of Miami. Lejeune and Flagler, right? That you know, right? So it's on that when you think about it, right? Florida Power and Light, I've been there for almost 35 years. I get to work on some very interesting, very incredible, and really projects that make a big difference. And so I appreciate the support that my company has given me this, really what's been, I guess, like 3 years here to be able to give to the chamber and to be a part of this chamber. Corner of Lejeune and Flagler, you know, probably $6.8 billion, probably the largest capital investor in the state of Florida is Florida Power and Light. And so I'm very, very happy. And I thank my company for their support. I also want to put up my direct team. Where are they? Because they're the patient. Look at it. This is some of my direct team here. There they are. So that's Mandy Addis, Christopher, Margarita, and Baldwin. Well, they keep me straight. They really do. And I thank you if the boss was preoccupied. I love them. They terrific. And you got to always have a great team. You're nothing without a great team. And now this is, you're going to put another. This is going to be my husband, David. My husband, David. Oh. Yeah, my vitamin C, right? We put him up there for Captain David. He's right here, everybody who's maybe Zooming, you can't see him, but my husband is right here. So just like the vows you take, right? Good times, bad times, how do those go, right? Good, rough seas, smooth seas. He's always with me. He's my rock. So incredibly supportive. When you got a working spouse, it's never easy, right? Patient. You know, I always bounce ideas off of him. I go, how does that sound? I can fix this or change that word or something like that. Nobody better to bounce ideas off of. He always keeps me from jumping off the ledge. You know, you pull me back, right? Get back, come on, you took it too far. It's not that big a deal. You took it out of the ballpark, push me back. And then sometimes he pushes me when I need the push too, right? I thank you, David, for letting me take that last text message or answer the phone right when we're sitting down to dinner, or the boat is loaded and you're ready to head out, and you still let me do that without making a lot of faces. So I appreciate that. Thank you for loving and being kind to my very extended family. You know what that means? All those cousins, prima, primos, right? We have them, right? They become yours too. Thank you for all that. My cat thing. I do have a cat thing. He puts up with a cat thing. So I have to leave it like this. All these 35 years of working, you have to have a partner that's with you. And you're a terrific husband, father, grandfather to be, brother, uncle, friend. And so to my love of my life, thank you very much. There's nobody better. So that's what could make me like cry up here. But in closing, guys, 114 years. Don't you love organizations that have a little bit of grit? And like, I love old things. I love things that have character. 114 years. We have history. We have character. We're a part of this community. We have a story that we tell, right? And so we've gone through wars and made it out, right? We've gone through wars with this chamber. We've had immigration challenges. We've had what do we have? Civil wars. What do I have them here? Drug epidemics. We've had recessions. We've gone through so much together. And now, what are we going to add to the list? We got through a worldwide pandemic, right? So check that one. Ladies and gentlemen, my incredible honor and pleasure to have been your chairwoman. If I live to have a long life, and I mean that, you know, deep into my 80s, and I'm sitting back in a rocking chair or a easy chair, I will always remember you, and I will always remember this year because it was memorable. So thank you very, very much. Thank you, guys. Well, now comes the fun part. Okay, so here's the fun part. Thank you for standing up for me. That's so sweet. So here comes the fun part. All right, I haven't seen this. So you guys know that there is a tradition here that they create a video, right? They create a video, and so and they take you way out of your comfort zone, right? We all have comfort zone. This is way out of there. I haven't seen it, but here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna cue it up, and let me tell you something. There's some people here. We need to take a stretch break, and we're gonna like dance to this, right? So some of these audience members, and you know who you are, Irby and Vicky, you're gonna help me out, get up there. Okay, so am I gonna cue this video? I'm gonna see it for the first time with you. How about that?
Are we all here?
Sure, we're here.
Is everyone on?
Yeah.
You're on mute. Take yourself off mute. Can you hear me now? Why are you wearing a mask on Zoom? Are you frozen or is that me? to some great information. Didn't hesitate. We knew we'd soon be together. We didn't wait. And now it's almost over. Take another look and tell me, Chambers, who's zooming who? We didn't miss a thing, that's right, Chambers. Yeah, 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 yeah. Take another look and tell me, Chambers, who's zooming who? We didn't miss a beat, that's right, Chambers. Yeah. Can you hear me now? Ah, let's write some gold.
Was that chat for everyone or just Bob?
Okay, that was good. Good. That was good. Bob, come. Bob, will you come up, Bob? Bob Berkowitz. Nobody does a video like Bob Berkowitz. Fantastic job, Bob. That was great, Bob.
So how far out of your comfort zone?
That was way out of the comfort zone. Yeah, yeah, but thank you for that singer, because she was good.
She actually thought you would have to sing it
Yeah, I thought that's
when
what
I
you said.
told her that was the song. So we make it a tradition that I give a little present to the outgoing chair. Oh, that's the wrong one. So you'll remember.
Let me see.
You'll remember
Oh,
You'll remember
Thank you.
your.
that was great. That was great.
I lost track. I think this was number 42 or 43 for me. Scary, right? But I also have one for Felipe because he got gypped last year. Felipe, come on up.
Come here, Felipe.
Last year I had. Last year, I had a meeting and I had decided we were going to have him do Ed Sheeran, I'm in love with Miami. I had already written the lyrics and everything, but he got a little gypped, so here's a memo of your remember. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. That was good, Papa. That was good.
Let's get a shot.
Let's get a shot.
Bob.
Bob.
Photo. What happened to the pretty woman theme? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was great. That was great. Thank you. Well, that was fun. Who's zooming who? Okay, that was great. So, so with my tenure now in the board chair coming to a close, my last official duty. So I think I need to have Rick, if you could come up here, please. All right. So here it is, Rick. So I get to turn the gavel, right, over to you. Thank you so much for being a phenomenal chair-elect. It was great working with you. As your immediate past chair, you know I'm here for you, full support. You know you got me in my corner. And now I turn over this gavel representing this prestigious 114-year-old organization over to you. Best of luck to you. We're all with you. We're united to do a great job. And Rick, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And here you go.
All righty. Oh, whoa, don't go anywhere, Irene. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, there are some official duties I now must do. So I want to thank the chamber. I want to make sure we have Alfred to come up. You know, this past year, it was been a little challenging for us. Most of you all know, the pandemic to me was that silver lining around the cloud. I don't look at the darkness, I look at the silver lining. I will share with you that this young lady has done a fantastic job of helping and leading us. So thank you so much. Make sure I get my sayings right, because I'm looking at this teleprompter and I'm like, okay. So before you leave the stage, we want you to come over here so that we can present to you a small token of our esteem, but our affection to you, your leadership that you provided over the year, and we're so thankful. So with this, we're going to bring you this wonderful gavel.
Ooh, it's
Alrighty?
very
Yes.
sparkly.
You can- All righty.
I will treasure this. Thank
So
you.
do you want to say a few?
Am I?
Yes,
Am I?
yes, yes, yes.
Am I on? Oh, we
Yes.
have this. Am I on? Okay. No, I did that. Oh, now I'm supposed to do this. This is very official. I'm sorry, guys. We're used to doing it in Zoom, right? So ladies and I'm sorry. So we get away with more when you're Zoom, right? So anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, your new board chair, Rick Beasley. Yeah.
And Irene is right. We're so used to doing this in Zoom that please forgive us, because technology, if it's not on our lap, and if you're not in a row, excuse, I did say that out loud? It's kind of difficult to doing this, but now let me, before I started getting into my comments, let me first get in my first official duties as chairman. I want to introduce, I am inducting the 114th Board of Directors for the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. But first, let me have Amy and let me have Roberto to come up. I want to officially induct these individuals as dictated by our bylaws. You all elected them as our officials. So where's Amy? Okay. I'm looking at this as I'm trying to read as you go. So bear with me. I want to first be able, as my first official duties, to have with me the chair. Like, don't move that too fast. You move it too fast for me? Yes. I don't have my glasses on. They will come on in just a second. But I want to introduce our chair-elect, Roberto Munez. I said that right. But you know what I'm thinking of, Roberto. Did it perfect. And then our chair, our first vice chair, which is Amy Fernals. And these individuals. So now we can move forward. And then our treasurer, where is Alex? Alex is not joining us today? Alex, who is with BDO USA, they will join, but since they're here, ladies and gentlemen, you are now installed as the 114th Board of Directors of this chamber with the rights and responsibilities entailed. So with that, I'll step. So thank you all very much. Amy, thank you so much. Thank you. All righty. Now, I want to present to you the Board of Officers for the 2021-22 Greater Miami Chambers of Commerce. And now will the executive committee members, would you please stand? I'm not going to have everybody on stage, but you all please stand. The executive committee members, thank you. You all should have received a pen when you entered the room earlier. Please now go ahead and place that pen on your left lapel. You are now installed as the 114th Executive Committee for the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce with all rights and responsibilities that it entails. Thank you so much. You all may be seated. All right. Now I will have the Board of Directors please stand. All the Board of Directors of the Chamber, will you all please stand? All right. And again, you all have lapel pins. Please place your pins on your left lapel. All right, everybody's doing that? Okay. You are now officially installed as the 114th Board of Directors for the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce with all rights and responsibilities that it entails. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Board of Directors for the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce, who join a long line of distinguished leaders in the community that helped from the Magic City to what it is today. We all have our work cut out, a significant amount of work cut out for us. Let us rise to the challenge. Let us truly rise of building Miami-Dade County. Thank you so much. And so, Shane, and we do want to thank Pfizer for this, you all support. But Shane, I will tell you, we're always going to be number one. Career Source is always going to be number one. And I have put the word out to the staff members that they're there to let me know what you have committed to an event like the Economic Summit, that Career Source will not be number two. We will not be number two, all right? Which is a great challenge. So let me put my glasses on so that I can see. And these lights are really, very bright, but one, I'm thankful that we're here today in person. So we welcome you all to be in person. We're not in Zoom. We're not wearing a jacket and a tie and some shorts. Felipe. And so we are glad that you're here. So good morning to our members. Thank you so much. First, giving honor to God. Giving honor to God. First, giving honor to God is an opportunity to serve the citizens and the business community of Miami-Dade County. I'd like to take this time to thank all the members of the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce, the opportunity for me, Rick Beasley, to serve as your chairman. A very prestigious organization, 114 years that we've given to this community, that we've built this community. When I say I'm honored, I'm truly honored. So real quickly, let me share with you, for the past couple of years, I've had the opportunity to serve under two outstanding community leaders. And let me first share with you, Felipe, you are an outstanding leader. I've enjoyed working with you, and Irene, our wonderful chairwoman, an outstanding leader. So when I began this journey, I would tell you all we were just friends. We became family. We became family. The staff, you all do an outstanding job. But let me share with those who don't, when you're in these seats, sometimes you really don't get a chance to know in person until you really get into the seats. The commitment and passion that these two individuals have, they embody and want to serve this community. It is contagious, truly contagious. We started again, as I mentioned, as just friends and colleagues who are committed to serve this chamber. But because of the pandemic, because of that pandemic, we became family. And not only did we become committed, we had a dedication to not only save and serve Miami-Dade Chamber, but this community. And when I tell you, thank you from the bottom of my heart, I thank you too from the bottom of my heart. And I share with you all, in the height of the pandemic, we started to meet every Wednesday night to discuss how we, as a team, with the wonderful staff of the chamber, how we would make a difference. And I've truly enjoyed, because it allowed us to get close. Even though we were Zooming who, but it was a pleasure being able to see and meet with them on a Wednesday. I could count on that on a Wednesday night. And most of y'all know there was a routine that you all went through because of the pandemic. That was our routine. And so also let me share with you that, 17 years ago, you all as a Miami-Dade County, you welcomed this Midwestern boy to South Florida. And I've embraced you all because you're my family. Since moving here, I've had the opportunity to really get a chance to meet some transformative leaders. Truly transformative, from all walks of life, all ethnicities, that really have truly made a difference in this community. These folks have helped build Miami-Dade County, and a lot of them may not be on the newspaper. A lot of them may not be seen in events like this, but they've truly made an impact. So I want to share with you, and sometimes, they say, please do not call people out because you forget somebody's name and some feelings get hurt. But I want to share these individuals because they're transformative in a way of how they not only move this county, but also help me truly help and become a profound impact on how I look at the culture, again, of Miami-Dade. I'm from the Midwest. You know, what you get there is the cows, that, you know, not much diversity in terms of ethnicity. But when you move to Miami, it's the melting pot that brings this community, and we lead the nation in terms of the diversity of of this melting pot. And so these individuals I want to share with you all that truly have made a transformative difference in this community, but also in my life. Last week, last week we honored and celebrated the life of Mr. Al Dotson Sr. But some of you all don't know, he was my deacon in the church when I moved here to South Florida. When I say he made an impact, he truly made an impact. See, for some of you all who may not know, my daughter, who's here, Dotson would come to the church. If we came to the church, he would grab Lauren and snatch her out of my arms and just start to hug on her and tell her, you know, this is my daughter. But he made an impact in terms of youth and how he would help build this community. So I wanted to share that with you because, again, the comments that I would make in Facebook or something, some of the items, he would send me a little note. Congratulations, keep up the good work. He would take the time to do that, to be encouraging. H.T. Smith, who truly made an impact on how the Black community was involved in Miami-Dade County and how it needed to be recognized for the work it has done. When I look at Brother T. Willard Fair, who's worked with the Urban League and has been the leader over there for over 50 plus years of ensuring the community is engaged in how we provided employment services, housing. When I look at Barbara Jordan, Commissioner Barbara Jordan, see, most of you all know her as the commissioner, but let me share with you. She committed several years working for Miami-Dade County to ensure families, all walks of life, had an opportunity for housing, employment, living conditions. And she served as a member of my board. Another young lady who's made an impact in my life, she probably doesn't know it, but she'll know it now. Gypsy Metellus. I remember the time Gypsy called on us to have a meeting at her office. She had a community meeting. She wanted to ensure I knew that the Haitian community need to have the same access as everybody else. And she held me responsible to ensure that I never forgot about the Haitian community. And so she would invite me to events and making sure that we had events there and made me be aware. So Gypsy, thank you. When I look at individuals like Ralph Gatsatua, the Gatsatua family, see, some of you all, again, I'm sure some of these have become personal. Ralph himself would invite me to events. I remember working with Ralph with Defied. If I don't know, some of y'all remember Defied, that provided youth activities for our kids. But Ralph engaged me and would share with me his experience being an early Cuban in this community and what it meant. But I also talked to me about international business and how we need to be engaged, and share with me his operations and how I needed to take a look at building career opportunities in trade and logistics. Ralph had his way, and you all know that, but he was also a man of faith. When I look at Mrs. Maria Garza, and some of you all probably don't know Maria, but been a huge advocate for migrant farm workers. Her herself was a migrant farm worker, and share with me the impacts that migrant workers have in this community, and not only in this community, but across the country, but the needs and the services they must have. And I would tell you, our Madam President, Madeline, and I, I remember walking up to Madeline one afternoon or one evening when we were getting out scholarships to the Mexican American Council. And at that time, we were not given them. But we made a promise that we would do that, to provide scholarships to change and transform lives. But if it wasn't for Maria Garza, I wouldn't understand the plight or the difficulties that Mexican Americans or actually farm workers would have in this community. When I look at Alfonso Perez, and some of you may not know Alfonso, but he is an attorney, but he also is an owner of a proprietary school that provides IT training. Him making a difference in how we change the trajectory of people's lives from either with a Hispanic, Black, Haitian, but it provided an opportunity. And so, and Alfonso and I have had a number of conversations about how to build a better infrastructure. And of course, you all know Mr. Bill Diggs. Bill, again, not only a fraternity brother, but also a leader to ensure that Black businesses had an opportunity to compete globally, because they make a difference in the Black community. And so, Mr. Abdulia Piedra, now most of y'all know him as Dooley. Dooley was my chairman of my board. Dooley and I had that opportunity. I mean, we traveled together. We got a chance to really know each other. And he's really just not a chairman or a board member. He is truly a friend. And share with me again his plight as leaving and as an immigrant coming to a country, of seeing the opportunities, but more importantly, seeing how they can make a difference, how it can make a difference. We forget that. Some of you all came from Cuba to come here. And sometimes we don't have that frank discussion of the difficulties coming into a new country. Folks who are here who don't look like you, maybe against you. And so that conversation with Dooley, we've had over years, and he's been inspirational. And for those of you who know that I love aged rum, blame that on Dooley, because he provided that. Then we have leaders like Dave Lawrence. Dave Lawrence, his inspiration and the manner in which he looks at how we build and work with our youth, our future youth, early learning, because that's where the development comes from. It's individuals like that, again, I've sat on a number of boards with Dave, Early Learning Coalition. I've probably been on the board probably 15 some odd years, and Dave has been hugely inspirational there, but more of a transitional leader, not just in Miami-Dade County, but across the state. And last but not least, our Honorable Mayor, Daniela Levine Cava. Now, some folks, well, you just mentioned because she's the mayor. No, let me share with you. I met Daniela and Gypsy, Moabedi, 3 days on the job, 17 years ago. My third day on the job, I met with her and discussed this Human Services Coalition type environment. And I'm thinking, well, okay, who are these people? But over the years, I've worked with our mayor before she became a commissioner, before she became a mayor, and the commitment to serve those who have no voice, those who needed the assistance to move beyond their condition. That's the commitment of the mayor that we have. So I share with you, these are just a few names of leaders that have assisted me in my transition here in South Florida. Now, a little emotional on this one. I do want to introduce or bring to your attention of a man that has been transformational in my life. So let me share with you. He was born to a sharecropper in rural Georgia. For some of you all, you may not know the rural Georgia. This is in 1936. And he served this country in the military for over 27 years. But for the past 44 years, he has worked to ensure the folks who have no voice. And I've seen this man move with, when I tell you with no voice, he's worked with the homeless who don't have a place to live. He's worked with ex-offenders. He's worked in impoverished communities all across this country. But I would tell you, he has sacrificed, not just for the folks here in this country, but across the world. That transformational leader is my father, Joe Beasley. I get a little emotional because when I tell you he has set the bar for service, I get a little emotional because as a young man, my daughter's age, I was his age, I remember my mother and father coming down. They just bought us a pair of bikes. Daddy, you probably don't remember, but it means a lot to me because I had to give up a bike that he had bought us for Christmas the previous year. We had to give them up the next year to someone who was less fortunate than we were. You don't remember that. I do remember it. I'm still feeling some kind of way about that bike. But my father set the steps to be a true role model to serve. And when I tell you he serves, he has worked all over this country to give. And see, most of y'all don't know, but that's why I love to serve. Why I truly believe in God, because he's a deacon in this church. Why I believe in God and why he is the creator. Why he gives us the strength to do what we do. Is because a man like that who has set the tone for the rest of us. And so that I thank you for Angie, for Rod, and myself. Thank you. Now, let me get beyond the emotional because my father, I love him to death, and he knows that. But let me share with you another organization I truly love and the commitment and passion. It is this chamber. It is this chamber. So to Alfred, to our board members, and to the wonderful staff here at the chamber, really you all should be commended for your leadership, the work, the resources that we, this chamber provided to the community to help pivot during this pandemic. GMCC Cares was launched in response to COVID. This is what this chamber has done for this community. It provided resources that were needed to help our businesses grow, large and small. You know, and Alfred mentioned it, Irene mentioned it, in partnership with Career Source South Florida. You know, we gave it nearly over $1 million of grants through the Layoff Aversion Fund to help keep businesses afloat and to help keep people working. This chamber, in response to the George Floyd tragedy. See, there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes that you all really don't see sometimes. A lot of our committee members, you do. But then the staff that jump in, and I remember Spencer calling me, and I remember, I think it was Yvette. I'm gonna forget some names here, but I was getting calls out the wazoo about this event, this initiative that the chamber wanted to launch. But in response to George Floyd, we knew we had to be transformational in how we help the Black community. And so we launched GMCC Unites. We launched GMCC because we wanted to make a difference. This chamber is transformational. 114 years of that. So to the members, to Miami-Dade County citizens, when I tell you that I am truly excited about what we're gonna do, not just this year, but years to come, I'm excited. I'm excited because we're in a fantastic position. However, I'm more excited. More importantly, I'm excited about the role in which GMCC, this chamber, will play in rebuilding, reshaping Miami-Dade County. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the team that comes behind me. I work with two transformational leaders, with Felipe and Irene, but I'm excited about working with Roberto and with Amy. Some fantastic leaders in their own right of how they're going to give back to this community. Folks who are committed to serving this chamber. Transformational leaders who will help change this community. So most of y'all know me, and most of y'all know how I am. I was going to say in my notes here that I'm requesting all the members to help make a difference. So let me go back and say it this way. I'm volunteering you. I'm volunteering this chamber let me back up. I'm volunteering you because this community needs all of us to be transformational and reshaping and rebuilding our community. The pandemic, folks, stop looking at the dark cloud. Let's focus on the silver lining. I told you we've launched GMCC Cares, GMCC Unites, but through all that, we were able to implement our strategic plan. And through all that, we worked towards having a wonderful initiative, our MIWA, to address healthcare concerns for our businesses. And through all that, this pandemic, we had a pact that we created to influence on behalf of our members, but more importantly, on behalf of our community. So for the next couple of days, we're going to prepare the agenda, the goals, and I'm asking each of our committee chairs to look at how we're going to move forward. I really want you all to strive to ensure that all our businesses can compete globally, that we look at prosperity, that we look at viability and sustainability for all South Floridians. Again, that should be I guess really in our mind of how we're going to move Miami-Dade. I'm asking you all, again, let's go back. I'm volunteering you all to be transformational in how you provide suggestions, solutions to build a better plan. We have to work together to develop the strategies around our strategic goals that we have. Now keep this in mind. Those goals need to ensure that we build on the future of our economy, that we look at building talent, that we're innovative, that we help shore up our infrastructure. More importantly, that we provide solutions to building a better business climate. But when it's all said and done, for Miami-Dade County, it's about building a better quality of life. And I know that's in the mission of all our hearts of what we want to do. So, yes, this past year presented a number of challenges. Yes, they did. Our small businesses were strained to the point, and some even went under. So as we begin these several days of building and establishing our goals, let's concentrate on enhancing opportunities for our small business community. Let's talk about building opportunities for workforce housing, sustainability for our beaches, providing better advocacy for our small business in Tallahassee, but more importantly here. So understand and let's reflect on what makes all of us strong to build a better and resilient Miami-Dade County. So over the next year, my chairmanship I want us to concentrate to implement strategies that will improve or achieve the items of our 3 strategic goals. Again, you all kind of see the theme that we have here. Alfred tells you the great story that we're doing because we have done a great story in spite of the pandemic. Our wonderful chairwoman shared with you about the things that we were able to accomplish. In essence, almost repeating. And so I want to share with you, again, all those items that we implemented, all those wonderful achievements were transformational. And so I'm going to ask our members to look at our strategic plan. Enabling business services. The first one, developing a member metric model. Enabling member business success. Build, nurture, and lead a resilient environment. Those are the items that we want to concentrate on. And so one of the items I do want to share with you is, I want us to look at developing and really engaging our former members, our former chairmen, to be more engaging in this chamber to help us lead and build a better community. So I'm going to ask him, and Alfred and I know we've talked about it, of how we can have a quarterly chairman's roundtable discussion as a follow-up as we look at our goals and making sure we're on target. Now, with our MIWA, with our PAC, there's an event, or actually it was several meetings that we've had, and I would share with you, Alfred and I are trying to see how we can enhance and work with the Small Business Development Agency for the county, and how we can work with those small businesses to provide them technical assistance. So I'd like to see if we can increase membership. I kind of wrote a goal here of 10%. Alfred, I want to see if we can get 20%. Now, some of y'all may be shaking your heads, but that's not just left to Alfred. That's not left to the staff. That's left to all of us here in this room who are on a video, or what you call it, it was Hollywood Squares. It's left to all of us. We all live here in Dade County, or at least in South Florida. We all have a vested interest of growing this community. And to do that, I need all of us to ensure that we increase membership, because it enables us to work together, partner together. And for the new members that may be here joining us, it's not just about the trustee luncheon. It is being committed and involved in our committees, because your words and your comments that you make have value, and that's where it takes place. Through the great work of Jose and Alex, I thank you for what you did last year. That's last year. And if my staff were on this mic, they'd tell you that last year was good, but I don't accept last year. I expect us to be better. Now, Jose says that he won't be in, he's not chair, and that's fine, Jose. We're still gonna keep you involved, but we have a great chair with Alex. We have a great vice chair with Vicky. But we've done a great job in Tallahassee, and we've done a great job in Washington. I want us to do a better job here in Dade County and with all our municipalities to advocate on all our businesses' behalf, so we can make the environment more friendly for them to grow their business, whether it's in Aventura, whether it's in Florida City, whether it's in Sweetwater. We have work to do to make sure that we build that relationship so that all businesses, we represent Dade County, and that's what we're gonna do. I want us to expand, and we've done that with GMCC Unites, but to expand diversity, to help not only with Black businesses, but also women-owned, and make it more attractive to have the LGBTQ community more engaged and help them grow their businesses. Folks, it shouldn't make a difference whether of your sexual orientation, or your hue of your skin tone, or even your gender. This chamber is going to be committed to serving all our members in every aspect of our community. But I'm also asking for us, as we commit to diversity, that we talk about committing to diversity of our own workplaces and making them more friendly. Again, some of us, I don't know what classification I'm in. I'm not a millennial. I'm not a, what do they call it, the X factor or whatever. You know, Genesis X, yeah, I hear that, yeah. I'm not, I'm not in that class, but we need to make sure that our workplaces not only reflect gender, ethnicity, age. It needs to reflect in every aspect of our operation. And so I'm going to be asking, where's Ross? He was here, of our chairman of our HR committee. We need to ensure, yes, clap, we need to ensure that we look at those aspects of how we can help all our businesses grow. So diversity is not just about Black and white. It is about other aspects of gender, is aspects of our age, but we need to be inclusive. Now, a number of you all have called me, text me about needing talent. And folks, this is a huge issue for us. And I want to invite all our members to participate in building talent. The chamber must lead in this area of working with our Miami-Dade College, working with Miami-Dade County Public Schools, working with all our institutions, FIU, to University of Miami, Florida Memorial, St. Thomas, Berry. Now, some of y'all don't realize that we are in a college town. We don't look at it because we're cosmopolitan. Everybody comes here for the beaches. But if we don't engage and work with these institutions of higher education, we lose out on that opportunity. And so I'm asking us to take a look at some strategies that help build apprenticeship models, that help build pathways, looking at other items of, again, internships and how we can increase our talent pool. So beyond that, as we look at this year, we are challenged of finding talent. And I want to thank Vicki Lopez for leading an initiative that is inclusive of ensuring that if you committed one issue, you're a returning citizen, that will look at banning the box for folks who may have a record. I share with, Vicki knows, Vicki and I have done the research and we're working with the committee, but keep in mind, if we're not inclusive of all citizens and giving people an opportunity to sell themselves without fear of someone discriminating against them because of an offense, we lose out on an opportunity to be productive and also build communities. And so I'm asking us to take a look at a banner box initiative that will allow us to not ask that question, but to give someone an opportunity to sell themselves. And from there, we can build a better community. So I mentioned this before, that working with our HR and education and committees, that we focus on, again, talent, the pathways and apprenticeship models to help build our community. I'm sharing this vision with you all because, again, our committees are already doing this, but as we move forward in this transitional moment, we have an opportunity, a significant opportunity, to build on where we were, but to make it even better. And so when Roberto and Amy come in, they're gonna make it even much better. And so we need to be transformational on how we build our goals and that they're in alignment with our strategic plan. I'm asking all of us to take the time. So new members, it's not just about the trustee luncheon. To our new members, it's about engagement and working with this committee, coming up with ideas. And so with that, I thank you for, again, the pleasure of serving as your chairman for the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. Now, let me say this. Most of y'all know, well, majority of y'all know I'm competitive. Real competitive. I want this to be the best, well, we already the best chamber in South Florida. No, quite frankly, I'm saying some things in my head, so let me say it out loud, which sometimes gets me in trouble. We're gonna be the best chamber in the South. I don't bypass. I've bypassed Florida, but the best chamber in the, matter of fact, let's take the South out of the picture. We're gonna be the best chamber in the country, right, Alfred? The work that we're already doing, folks, the MIWA, and I mean, that was a vision of Alfred and, where's Matt? Matt's not here? Okay. Okay, huh? Oh, okay, oh, yeah. But Matt and some other folks, I remember being in those meetings, and our good friends over at AvMed, to help provide another opportunity. We're doing some wonderful work, and I don't know how many chambers, anyone in the state of Florida providing a MIWA? No, we're the first. So let's set the tone of being the first in a number of areas of inclusion, diversity, building our infrastructure, being the benchmark of how we become more resilient. As one of our board members mentioned to me, building better jobs, more green jobs, being more resilient. So guys, when I say that I am honored to be your chair, I'm truly honored to be your chair. I am following and walking behind some major steps with Irene, some major footsteps. And fortunate for me, I wear a size 13, so I can cover her footsteps right there. But I'm looking forward to us to getting to work but more importantly, I'm looking for us to be more transformational for Miami-Dade County. So let's get to work. Thank you. All right. So I get a chance. One last, Irene, thank you for the gavel. Appreciate it. But I want to use this gavel as officially closing the annual meeting portion of today's programming. Let's make sure we get to work. So with that, all right, we're closing the meeting. So I'm blessed today to have my family. I'm blessed today to have some good friends who have joined us today. But I'm now more pleased to bring to the stage our committee chairs. I'm looking over at Adriana and Ashaki. I'm like, okay, where are they? Let me share with you. These two young ladies have done an outstanding job with Leadership Miami. And so I'm gonna turn this over to you all. Last week I got a chance to pop in for their, what do you call it, soiree? Yeah. Oh, that's the fancy way of saying it? Okay, I was there for their soiree. And let me tell you, I got a chance to meet some of Miami-Dade County's fantastic future leaders. And so, guys, if you're not supporting Leadership Miami, you need to support Leadership Miami because it helps build our future leaders. So with that, I'll turn it over to you all.
All right. Thank you, Rick, and good morning to everyone. And for those of you who I have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Andriana Oliva, and I am the owner of the AO Insight Group. And I am the proud chair of this year's Leadership Miami 42nd class. It is an honor to be here today, sharing with you the successes, innovations, and firsts that made this year a little extra special as our participants resiliently conquered the program in and despite a pandemic. Before we get started, to the LM42 class here and on Zoom, these jazz hands, they're for you. All right. Leadership Miami will forever go down in LM history as the first and only, Ashaki, you heard me, only virtual class. A year of many firsts, we introduced LM alumni Dr. Nanette Vega as our first ever DI council person, where she facilitated a 21-day challenge and as well as assured all our focus sessions had a DEI component. For the first time, led by LM alumni and GMCC board member Vicky Lopez, we integrated wellness into every single focus session, whether it was stretching, breathing, or interpersonal or a focused activity. Our class took to it, and Vicky also took this opportunity to use this year's Leadership Miami class as a pilot program for GMCC Connects, offering 15 one-on-one sessions. I've been an alumni for 10 years, and one thing that has always been missing was a clear succession plan to program chair. So we changed that. We now have established a clear path and currently have 3 leaders lined up, all who are women. Just happened. Yeah. and we also have 2 candidates in the waiting rooms, which leaves us with a succession pipeline for the next 5 years. Yeah, thank you. Our usual Shark Tank Pitch Night was reimagined as Project Pitch Night, a virtual show that streamed live from Facebook and YouTube, and where for the first time, everyone was able to watch and experience the team's pitching. It also included the first ever People's Choice Award with real-time audience voting and winner announcement. And in true reality TV fashion, because I am a millennial, we created what we call the LM Pop-Up Challenges, an opportunity to throw a few extra things into the mix, like creating a video to introduce the team names at the beginning of the project, and also an opportunity to present on committee topics to the board, giving our participants an opportunity to develop their public speaking skills. All that being said, this year's class pushed forward with projects, community impact, learning, growth, and so much more. In 6 months, Class 42 made lifelong friends, completed over 10,000, let me say that again, 10,000 volunteer hours. Yep, thank you. And in those 6 months, we also raised $400,000 in cash and in-kind gifts. Give it up. Projects focused on developing programs and opportunities for girls in STEM, working with and improved housing for aging out and transformational foster youth, provided curriculum and professional development to formerly homeless or at risk of being homeless youth, created an outdoor learning space in an underserved community, and brought food distributions to a neighborhood living below the poverty line. 60 participants, 30 plus alumni volunteers. We did this year. Thank you. But there's more. Traditional fieldwork like in-person volunteer opportunities and community tours were replaced by Leadership Miami Brings You, a new virtual series that brings participants, alumni, and chamber members the opportunity to meet and have conversations with industry leaders like Jimmy Morales, our Miami-Dade County Chief Operating Officer, Catalyst Miami, Transit Alliance, as well as included topics on leadership and ethics, crisis communications, the state of homelessness in Miami-Dade County, and LGBTQ, to name a few. Our class was smaller than most years, but this group collectively completed over 460 fieldwork opportunities. That is on par or more than a regular full-size class. Leadership Miami Brings You will continue through the summer virtually as a way to engage and offer alumni a continuing bridge to community awareness, involvement, and engagement. Speaking of alumni, in June of last year, we launched our third Tuesday of the month virtual happy hours. These were so much fun, and we had an amazing time with people joining us back as far as Class 1, Bob Berkowitz, and people joining us from all over the world. Truly an opportunity to connect with our alumni. This month's happy hour was our first in person, marking a full year of happy hours. And in celebrating Class 42 and Class 41, who had to switch gears midway through their program as we started to shut down for the pandemic. A big shout out to Jerry Menendez, who is on Zoom, Chair 41, on doing a tremendous job with going from all in person to all virtual and 0 to 60. Yeah, give it up for Jerry. Another alumni first, we launched the Leadership Miami Rapid Response Go team, ready at the call of duty. Several of us are now FEMA certified and members of the Miami-Dade County CERT team. Yeah, thank you. We've developed a core foundation for our alumni committee and created consistency in communications by developing monthly newsletters featuring alumni highlights, events, and volunteer opportunities and ways to stay involved and connected to the program. If you're a Leadership Miami alumni, I invite you to come back, get involved, and join the party as I now get to serve as your alumni chair. And now it's award time. Each year we present an Outstanding Project of the Year, as well as a Carlos Arboyela Award, which recognizes a current participant having demonstrated a strong commitment to community service, especially when it comes to their project. This prestigious award was created and named in honor of Carlos Arboyela, a distinguished Miami business and civic leader who gave extensively of his time and efforts for the betterment of the greater Miami. All right, and so joining us virtually to announce this year's winners, please join me in welcoming Vania Laguerre from Bank of America.
Good morning and welcome, everyone. My name is Vania Laguerre. I am the local market executive with Bank of America in Miami. I am pleased to join you, representing all of our Bank of America associates who call Miami home. And thank you for your support of the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce, the voice of the business community here in Miami. Our partnership with the Chamber has been a long-standing and mutually beneficial one because we know the relationship is grounded in our shared commitment to build a better Miami. This collaboration aligns itself to our decade-long focus on responsible growth, which prepared us well for the unforeseen challenges of 2020. It allowed us to be a source of stability, strength, and expertise for our customers and clients during these challenging times. It allowed us to continue supporting the communities in which we work and live, as well as deliver more consistent results for our shareholders through a well-understood risk framework. We are especially proud to be a sponsor of this year's Leadership Miami program, which aims to prepare future leaders to succeed professionally by cultivating civic engagement, learning to identify and address vital issues affecting Miami-Dade County, and establishing a long-lasting network of professional relationships. This year's work has been made even more notable in light of the challenges brought upon by the pandemic, along with the other issues that have ensued. As such, the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce Leadership Miami program has paid close attention to those projects focused on empowering young adults experiencing housing insecurities or homelessness, along with challenges stemming from conflict resolution, career exploration, and financial wellness, just to name a few. With that, it is my honor and my absolute pleasure to announce this year's Leadership Miami Award winners. The first award, on behalf of the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce and Bank of America, we are proud to announce the Outstanding Leading Project of the Year. The award goes to Brighter Tomorrows. Congratulations. The next award, on behalf of the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce and Bank of America, we are pleased to announce the Carlos Arbolea Award, which is granted to Leadership Miami's 42nd class to its most valuable participant. The award goes to Raymond Duenas, Event and Community Affairs Manager with the Miami Herald. Raymond served as project manager for his team, High Five Miami. Congratulations. Please join me in congratulating both of our awardees. Thank you so very much for your time and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
So first, I'd like to give this award to our Carlos Arboleda Award winner, Mr. Ray Duenas, who stood out from day one, even via Zoom. It was such an honor to have you in our class, Ray. Thank you. All right, congratulations to Brighter Tomorrow. Fun fact about this team, as Ashaki gives them their award, their first project was denied. Their second project was also denied. It wasn't until their third attempt that we finally approved them and away they went. This team raised over $9,000 in cash and approximately $336,000 in in-kind donations. Collectively, they put in over 5,000 hours and were the first team to fulfill their fieldwork before the deadline. Talk about overachievers. And so Ashaki, you've got the award. All right, let's take a look at this year's Outstanding Project of the Year video.
Okay. So my name is Roxana Rodriguez Monzon, and I'm currently a sophomore at Florida International University.
My name is Amaya English McKenzie. I'm a business major at Miami.
At the start of the project, we all thought we knew the true impacts of youth homelessness. But with every day, the systemic nature of the problem and how difficult it was to overcome came into sharper focus. We went in expecting to find people who needed our help. What we found was a group of young, empowered individuals, not only ready to overcome their challenges, but to also help others in the process. Coming together with them and helping them to pursue their individual dreams was a huge challenge and a huge opportunity, but one our team will cherish for the rest of our lives.
Early on, we were just a group of strangers trying our best to make a difference.
But we quickly found we were all very passionate about making a difference.
Pitch our project. Our project is focused on supporting students that are unhoused or impacted due to being previously unhoused.
So what my team and I have created is a fully interactive curriculum that is designed to equip participants to overcome their housing insecurity. Currently, we have the privilege of working with an amazing group of students from the Homie Collective, specifically their Youth Advocacy Council. Ultimately, our goal is to empower these participants to navigate that situation, and they have developed professionally, socially, and emotionally to work through any of the roadblocks that present themselves.
We started off with an introduction session where we met with our new allies and learned about their goals and aspirations.
The police hasn't been very effective in being able to take them to shelters or places of that sort because they just don't know. Basically, being able to create that referral system so that there's less people getting referred to the wrong services.
But a good skill that I want to learn by the end of this year that I will be learning communication skill, because communication is like good. And at the same time, I've been in spaces where people are like 30, 40, and they know like I'm still good.
Before we knew it, we were moving forward with our 6-week curriculum.
The art of keeping your cool. How to recognize, avoid, and overcome difficult situations. Exhibit A, knowing your rights and when to flex them. 30 seconds on the clock. How to command a room and emerge victorious. It's a no-brainer. How to secure funding to fuel your future. Getting that bread. How to plan or find a career path that fulfills you and the bank. Money in the bank. How to get out of your own way as you advance toward your lifestyle and money goals.
After 6 weeks and countless
Money
Zooms,
in the bank.
we finally
Your
met our
lifestyle
allies in
and
person.
We got to know them better and continue
After
to
6
build
weeks.
trust.
And
Money in the bank as
We
you
fin-
advance toward.
Drum roll. Everybody's getting a little tablet.
It was a day we'll never forget.
Our group came in and we worked with you guys over the last 6 weeks. We had different sessions. Tell me, what was that like for you?
I feel like, for me personally, it felt very empowering to have a sense of like, there's a group of people who have established lives and become successful in their own way, to be like, we have the tools and you can now flourish with said tools. You guys like refurbished and like re-innovated our group, because we were just kind of like, we have all these ideas, but how do we do them? Because it's like,
I would say I enjoy all of them. It's great to have like life skills, to learn about grants, to learn about professionalism, to learn about banking and so much more.
The teaching us about the law, you know.
Okay, Lexi's the
yes,
first one.
yes, and there's a lot that he's also my mentor.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of things that's going on, you know, with race and then also with the police, and it's very hard because if the police, you know, and also the people that get stopped, if they knew the law, some things could be avoided.
Yeah.
You know.
I like how y'all talked about the law and our rights. Y'all wanted to let us know our rights, so if we ever get in a situation, we know, we just have that knowledge to stand up for ourselves.
Yeah. Last question. Everyone in YVAC and Homie has had some challenges, right? In their youth, they come from some difficult places. What would you tell young people that are going through that now? What would you want to tell them? What would you want them to know?
I would say it's the challenges or what makes you the person you want to become.
Well, even though you're going through that situation, to never give up, especially on school, because I feel like school is a big part, and I feel like you have to go to school, you have to get a degree for you to involve and, you know, not be in that same situation that you was before.
Because when you're in those situations, you get desperate, you get frustrated, you know, the process is really long, the barriers you have to go through to access everything is insane. So just to value, you know, the wisdom of waiting, you know, to go through, when you go through that process, just to make sure that you're growing through it. Because, you know, if you're a resilient person and you're hardworking, you will get through it. And it
don't matter where you at,
what matters is what direction you're heading to. That's what truly matters. And yeah, just because everything is not stable right now, housing is bad, your loved one is toxic, that don't mean you can't like strive for greatness and focus on yourself and not allow those things to happen to you again, because we learn from our experiences, and everything that happens to our lives happens for a reason.
Let's give them a big round of applause to our winners. And let's give a huge round of applause to all the amazing and resilient participants and members of Class 42. Here in person and via Zoom, you all rocked it, and I am so incredibly proud to be your chair, your Forever 42 chair, and I made it through without crying. But I want to give a big thank you to Felipe, who I think stepped away already, but Felipe was my Leadership Miami chair and such a huge inspiration and reason as to why I am standing in front of you today. And he was also coincidentally 10 years later, my first board chair. So big shout out to him. Alfred, thank you so much for letting me go a little bit rogue at times, but we did it. And thank you to Leanne Ventura, who's also watched me basically go from cleaning the toilets at the Old Science Museum to standing up here in front of you all. That is my Leadership Miami story. Now, Ashaki, come on up. Ashaki, as someone who has been my mentor and role model for 10 years, it has been absolutely humbling to serve by your side. Thank you for running with the craziest of craziest ideas. Those 4 little words that you may never hear again. I have an idea. Alfred knows. And with that, here's my last first idea of Leadership Miami 42. I pass on to you the first ever Leadership Miami chair baton.
Adriana and her big ideas. We love them. We love her. We love her. So first off, I'm Ashaki Bronson Marcellus, for those that don't know me, and I am the incoming chair for Leadership Miami Class 43. Yes, so excited. So one, I want to thank I'm so proud of this class's participants, the teams, everything that they did, their projects, their perseverance, their willingness, their openness to let us kind of experiment on them, right? We experimented this year. Everything was virtual. We've never done this all virtual. And, they really knocked it out of the park because they really let us be honest and let us, really do all these crazy things that we wanted to do. So, we had a lot of year of firsts. I won't mention them all again. Adriana mentioned them. I think we had a lot of accolades, so I won't repeat them. But thanks to the chamber, thanks to the board for, allowing us through this process, providing the feedback that we needed and the things that we want to do to fine tune to really make the experience even better this coming year. So the baton has been passed to me. So interestingly enough, it's going to actually be my 15th year from graduating from the program and the 115th year coming for the chamber. So you may want to play those numbers, right? You may want to play those Powerball numbers. They sound like Powerball numbers to me. So I'm excited. I'm excited. My vision next year is to really, really fulfill everything that we've been doing these past 43 years for the program and really just make it better, really just serve it up more of a notch, right? So how do we do that? It starts with everyone in this room. We need your support. We need your help. We need your guidance. We need your feedback. Everyone in this room, from alumni and volunteers, we could not run this program without the volunteers. They help us keep this train on the track. We've been doing it every year and they always step up to the occasion. So we're really relying on them to really continue that with us. So I envision us pursuing a hybrid model, right? We love this face-to-face. I'm so excited to see faces again. I'm so excited to be able to touch and feel people again. So we definitely want to really get back to that. But there was so many things that we were able to add to the program because it was virtual. And I think someone mentioned just speakers that we were able to get, a lot of different content that we were able to provide that additional value to the participants because we had that virtual component. So we definitely want to encompass a hybrid model this year. We definitely want to encompass the many leadership skills. Alfred, from the start of the program this year, he sat down with me and Adriana, was like, what do you want the participants to learn? And we were ready. You know, we had key skills that we wanted them to learn with and walk away. And that's a lot of the stuff that we want to definitely focus on. So we had things like collaborative problem solving, leading change during a crisis, right? I think everybody needs to know that as we really went through that this year. Unconscious bias and inclusion, goal setting, accountability, mentoring, communicating more effectively as a leader, and more and more and more. And at the end of the day, it's really about what the participants get when they walk away from the program, the value that we're actually providing as a program from the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. So, and I think we do a survey, we do a poll with all of our participants at the end of the day, and we exceeded their expectations. I think we exceeded our expectations. So we know that we're providing that value and more. So the goal is really to take that to the next level. The program is going to be evolving this year, and we're going to be trying many new things. So I'm eagerly anticipating all that as we're planning the program now. So Leadership Miami is known for breeding future leaders, and we will definitely continue that path of excellence. So stay tuned for more news and ideas and different updates that come and help spread the word. But what do we need? We need participants. We need sponsorships. Overall, we need your support. The board engagement this year, this was one of the first things that we did because we really want to make sure that each year that we really get the participants really engaged in exactly what the chamber does. And I think you all were phenomenal and very open and allowed us to let the groups come in and speak to you and present to you. And I think that really planted the seeds for a lot of them to really stay the course and really continue on with the chamber. So I look forward to continuing to do that. So as I look around the room, there's some of my favorite people here that I met through the program, through Leadership Miami, through the chamber. So I'm really counting on everyone's support. And we've all stayed plugged in. So that's what we want to make sure that our participants do each year, that they really stay plugged into the chamber. It's really the gift that keeps on giving. So when I call you, don't put my calls to voicemail, right? We need your support. We need definitely your support in helping us with that. So, and of course, I can't end this without thanking my compadre, Adriana. A big thank you to her. Really. For asking me to be alongside her on this journey. This was super important to her, and I knew that. And I'm honored that she wanted me as her mentor to take the ride with her. So she exceeded any expectation that I had for her. She knocked it out the park. She was awesome. I'm super, super proud of her. And she has left big shoes to fill, right? So I'm up for the task. I'm up for it. But I'm happy that she will be serving as my alumni chair, so she will not be getting too far away from me. But as a token of our appreciation, I have a gift for her. And it's so definitely a lot of meaning behind it. It's a light bulb. And why is that? This is for all the times that she called, text, emailed, and said, I have an idea. I have an idea. This is for all her bright ideas. We love you, Adriana. Yes. Thank you for all your hard work and dedication for all these years that you had with the program, with Leadership Miami, with Youth Leadership Miami, and with the chamber, just top notch. We want to continue to give you your roses while you're here. So definitely thank you for all your hard work. And that is all that I have. I'm going to turn it over. Up next, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Javier Betancourt, the Executive Director of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust and member of the Chamber's Transportation Committee. Thank you all. Take my baton, take the speech.
Rick, come on up here. Leave your glasses. Wow, it really is bright up here. Good morning, everyone. All right, so I need to set the record straight here for a second. Oh, all right, don't look over there. I may be bald. I may be bearded. I may be broad-shouldered. I may be beautifully bronzed, but I am not Rick Beasley, okay? I had two people, no joke, congratulate me on becoming chairman this morning. And I rolled with it because rather impressive, and B, who doesn't want to be Rick Beasley, right? But in truth, it's a bad comparison because he wears this look so much better than I do. And he is twice the leader that I am, but I aspire to be like you, Rick. Thank you, sir. Speaking, if I could just take a quick moment of personal privilege, speaking of those who inspire us. Right up the street here today, as I'm speaking, a beautiful woman, a pillar of our community, Alice Robertson, is being laid to rest. I know that Alfred acknowledged her earlier. I had the honor, privilege, and pleasure of serving as Alice's deputy director at the Miami-Dade DA for several years, and she was that person in my life. I know Rick spoke to people who inspired him, and all of us have someone who inspired us and took us maybe from, being a junior member of a team to really elevating them into a leadership role, and Alice was that person for me. She inspires me still to this day. I feel her on this stage with me. And I know many of us have similar stories about Alice, and many of us wish we could be at that burial at this moment. But while we can't be there in person, let's see if we can be there in spirit. I'm gonna ask us for just a few seconds of silence, and please send your prayers, your positive energy, your good vibes over to St. Rose Catholic Church just up the street for a moment. Thank you. Thank you, Alice. We love you. So good morning. I am pleased to be here on behalf of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, or as you may know as the CITT, or the half-penny people. That half-penny refers to the sales tax that the good voters of Miami-Dade County agreed to raise by a half-penny in 2002 to help generate additional local funds for improving and enhancing our transportation system here in Miami-Dade County. So thank you for all your half-pennies over the years. It helps to pay for my salary, if nothing else. The CITT acts as a watchdog over those funds, ensuring that they're spent appropriately and that the People's Transportation Plan, or PTP, that it's meant to fund is implemented. Next year will mark the 20th anniversary of the half penny. And although you may not hear a lot about its successes, a lot has been accomplished, including the extension of Metro Rail to the airport, new state-of-the-art Metro Mover, Metro Bus, and Metro Rail fleets, new park and ride facilities, dozens of roadway projects, smart traffic signals, fare-free transit for seniors, veterans, and Metro Mover, and all of those trolleys and freebies you see serving our many cities. But of course, much remains to be done to meet the core promise of the PTP, that of the rapid transit corridors. But the county is making progress. Many of you have heard of the SMART plan, which plans to extend rapid transit along 6 major corridors throughout the county. One of those, the South Corridor, recently broke ground, and many of the others are following right behind it. I know that the Chamber is a big and critical supporter of the SMART plan, and I urge the Chamber and its members to continue to press for its implementation. 2 of the folks most critical to that ongoing effort are about to speak. The first hardly needs an introduction. Many of you have known Jimmy Morales for many years, perhaps as an attorney, as a county commissioner, as city manager of the city of Miami Beach, or perhaps in his latest role as COO of Miami-Dade County, where he oversees what seems like 300 departments. Now, as if that wasn't enough to keep him busy, he has also been moonlighting as the interim director of the Department of Transportation and Public Works, or DTPW. I don't know how you do it, Jimmy, and always with a smile and an infectious, positive attitude. But much to his relief, Jimmy's days as an interim director are limited because he's about to be replaced by the incoming director and CEO of DTPW, Mr. Eulois Cleckley. Mr. Cleckley is coming to us from the great and frigid state of Colorado, where he was most recently the City and County of Denver's Executive Director of Transportation and Infrastructure. A nationally known, well-respected, energetic, and progressive voice on transportation policy, I am confident that he will shine here in Miami once he defrosts from the Colorado cold and acclimates to the Florida humidity. Welcome, Mr. Cleckley. I look forward to working with you. And if I can give you one piece of early advice, Eulois, become best friends with the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce. It is a leading voice on transportation matters, and your close involvement with the Chamber will pay great dividends to you personally and professionally, as well as to the county and the people we serve. With that, I thank you for your time and attention, and I'm happy to turn things over to Chief Morales. Jimmy? Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's afternoon, yeah, no, almost. Good morning still. By the way, Rick, thank you for that introduction. I really appreciate it. Well, good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here on behalf of, and her name has been mentioned in wonderful ways, our Mayor, Daniela Levine Cava, who's given me the opportunity, obviously, to serve as the Chief Operating Officer here for Miami-Dade County. I want to thank Alfred for, and I know Pat Morris for, I think, arranging for me to be here. And it is nice to be back at a Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce event. It's been too long a time, particularly one in person. I do want to. It's bright out here, but I can't see down here, so I got to wear my glasses, unfortunately. Without light is when I have to wear my glasses. Before anything, I want to say that our thoughts and prayers are with the folks who were impacted by the horrible tragedy in Surfside. For those of you who may not know, a building collapsed in the middle of the night, and we pray for them and their families. Many of our county teams are out there on the scene, fire, police, investigators. This is a multi-agency response, obviously, as we're all joining forces. And of course, we pray for our first responders. I'm sure it's a very dangerous scene, and we hope that I know they're out there now, and we pray that they stay safe. So if I could just take just a moment for the victims and their families. All right. Like I said before, it's really great to be at this event. I think it's the largest group I've had a chance to speak in front of, certainly since I took office, and probably for a year and a half or so. I want to congratulate my friend Irene White for what has been a great tenure, and I'm sure the trio, Rick Beasley, will do a very good job, and I know we've partnered with him. I know when I was in Miami Beach, Chris Horson, obviously we'll continue to do that here now at the county. I love that I'm following Andriana and the team from Leadership Miami. I'm proud to be a member of the class of 1997, class 18. I'm aging myself. As Javier said, I do have a significant portfolio that includes, 8 departments: airport, seaport, public works, and transportation and public works, solid waste, water and sewer, I think parks, elections, and all the regulatory agencies from Durham, building code, et cetera. The mayor's also asked me to handle all the union negotiations. And occasionally I'll get involved in special projects like the naming rights recently for the new FTX arena. So I've got a full platform portfolio, but I'm really enjoying being part of her team, bringing a lot of innovation and change. As many of you know, about 17 years ago, I wanted to be on the 29th floor in another capacity, but I'm glad I finally got there, and I couldn't think of a better time. I've been asked to talk about particularly 5 different topics and give you sort of an update on what kind of things are happening and where we are. I reached out to all my other chiefs and directors, and they gave me a tome, so I'll try to go through it relatively quickly and then leave a couple minutes for my replacement, and I can't wait. I think it's like 6 weeks, 3 days, 21 hours, and no, I'm just kidding. But I think you'll enjoy meeting him at some point. First, to talk about COVID economic recovery. Obviously, the first thing the mayor had to deal with was the continuing response and recovery from the COVID pandemic. One of the things she launched is Thrive 305. You probably can't see it from here, but a little button, and an initiative to really get our community not just through the pandemic, but then to move beyond it, led by some of the wonderful folks I got a chance to work with, Chief of Public Safety J.D. Patterson, Chief Medical Officer Peter Page, and our CFO Ed Marquez. One critical piece was the vaccination piece. How can we get back to normal if we're not obviously trying to be as resistant as possible? I'm really proud to tell you that as I sit here today, 70.1% of the residents of Miami-Dade County over the age of 12 have been vaccinated. And that's just a tremendous feat. A lot of different public and private actors in that. And I think it sets us up going forward. The mayor's extensive work to help restart the cruise industry, including advocacy in Tallahassee and Washington, D.C. We've been working closely with the industry and our port staff led by Juan Carrillo, who does a great job. The good news is that even during the pandemic, we continued to invest in this important asset. As I speak, 3 new terminals are under some stage of construction. We had record cargo years at both the airport and the seaport. So when we sort of finally do come out, and I think we see that light at the end of the tunnel getting closer, we are going to come back just as strong as ever. Even at the airport, without most international enplanements and without the cruise ships, we're back to about 90% of traffic where we were before the pandemic. So this community is strong and will come back stronger. Her role with CARES Act funding as a commissioner and now as mayor are with her efforts with the ARP funds to support businesses negatively impacted. While a lot of our ARP money is going to go to revenue replacement, there are still tens of millions of dollars that will be available to support economic development in the county over the next few years. She's also enhancing the county's economic development framework to better coordinate the current initiatives that are taking place in different departments so that by coordination we can be as effective as possible. She is focusing, and I know some of you talk about how we can help our local businesses by streamlining. She is focusing on trying to streamline both the procurement process and the permitting process to make it easier for all businesses, but in particular small businesses who can't afford to hire lobbyists or consultants or those kinds of things. I know I've already hosted a virtual town hall meeting with the development community with the help of Truly Burton, who I'm sure has always been a member here. And we have subgroups working on some of these issues, and the mayor has set up a procurement task force to look at a lot of these issues. I want to stress that Mayor Levine-Cava firmly believes that local businesses are the key to our economic recovery, and their success, of whatever size, large or small, impacts all of our quality of lives. She's also working actively on business recruitment efforts, together with folks like Mayor Suarez in Miami and others, to try to bring all kinds of new efforts here. She hasn't forgotten that part of, and this is a perfect example of it, part of coming back, it also involves philanthropy and community engagement. And she actually has created a chief of that, Pat Morris. I think some of you may have met him in the past. He's been a little involved with the chamber, and he's doing a great job for us. And one of the things we were asked to do is, as I went through topics, sort of say, hey, what can you guys do to help us out? On this one, you just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, the things I've heard just in the short time I'm here as a chamber, keep investing in your businesses, bringing us ideas on how we can do better to be your partner. Encourage your employees to get vaccinated, obviously, and be as healthy as possible. And in your expenditures and procurement, support our local businesses and contractors, our small businesses, because this is unlike a lot of other places that have 50 or 60 Fortune 500 companies, we have a few, we are a lot about mid-sized and small-sized businesses, and we need to support them. Affordable workforce housing. I mean, that's obviously a critical issue in an economy where the gap between real estate prices and our incomes here, average incomes, keeps growing. We are focusing on that, and Chief Morris Copeland, who's head of Human Services, and our director, Michael Liu, have been really spearheading a lot of that. Some exciting things there. We have a rental assistance demonstration program called RAD. It's a transformative program for public housing that creates a contractual subsidy stream for 20 years, renewable in perpetuity. So compared to federal public housing programs that often leave our public housing department, in the red, $10 million a year through operation. We believe this will allow for about 20 to 30,000 new affordable and workforce housing units over the next 5 to 7 years. A dozen projects have already been initiated under RAD, including a soon-to-be-open senior campus across from the Lone Depot Stadium with nearly 1,200 new units. We're doing partnerships with other entities that have significant acreage, working with the MDCPS to produce 300 workforce units, and by that I mean the public school system, in Brickell and Overtown, trying to combine possible county properties and school board properties, a first collaboration of its kind in the U.S. Surtax dollars for homeownership. Commissioner Eileen Higgins, who's a real champion on that, has sponsored legislation to lift the artificial sales price cap of $205,000 for homeownership units. By lifting that cap in a market where, candidly, the average price of homes has risen so much, we now will bring more of the portfolio of real estate under the ability to tap into surtax dollars. We believe this will free up millions of additional surtax dollars, and that ordinance is actually on final reading July 8th. So one way to help is perhaps write letters and let your commissioners know to be supportive of that ordinance. We're trying to do some innovative practices as well as part of this while we're investing in the construction of homes and apartments. And again, hiring low-income residents. We have set a 20% threshold for hiring when in these construction projects, with a 50% mandate of all subcontracts to go to small, women-owned and minority-owned businesses. So we're trying not just spend the dollars to create housing, but hopefully some of those dollars get out into our community and also help us with economic development. Workforce development is another topic I was asked to take a quick look at. George Andrews and Rachel Weldehouse in the mayor's office are doing a lot of work in this area. I do want to start by thanking Rick Beasley and his organization for support of our efforts, and especially the $2 million he has already committed to this effort. The mayor is meeting with the leadership of, I forget who mentioned, I think maybe the academic institutions. We're working with Miami-Dade College, FIU, and UM regarding workforce training programs to ensure our business community has the talent it needs to compete in our global economy. She understands the importance of upskilling and supporting academic programs ranging from college certificates through graduate degrees. I mentioned she's working with local foundations in Career Source South Florida to seek funding for students interested in careers in tech ecosystem. An ask from you all would be to consider creating paid internships and apprenticeships to give graduates firsthand knowledge of the real-world requirements of their professions. And some of you have heard about the Peace and Prosperity Program, where the commission directed the mayor to use the naming rights proceeds from the FTX arena to really deal with gun violence and get youth out of at-risk youth out of before they get into trouble. And she's created this Peace and Prosperity program using those dollars and leveraging others, taking a longer-term approach by trying to create paid summer and full-year internships for at-risk youth. And again, it's not just, many of those will be with our county government, but to the extent any of you want to make some of those available to help somebody get off the street and maybe pursue a good life, we'd really appreciate that. Sea level rise and resiliency. I mean, that's a topic, obviously, that has been going on for several years now. We are the poster child for so many different issues, from climate change, sea level rise, issues with the bay, wastewater issues, heat issues, and clearly the mayor has, dove into this with real gusto. Our Office of Resiliency, led by Jim Murley, has remained focused on effectively dealing with these challenges. As you all know, we live in one of the hottest and most humid cities in the country. Some of you may not know that compared to 1995, we currently have 27 more days each year that when the thermostat hits at least 90 degrees compared to 1995. And the next 30 years will see a dramatic increase in the number of extreme heat days with indices 105 or hotter. As someone born and raised here, I'm a witness number one to how much hotter things are. One of her most recent initiatives was actually creating a chief heat officer, the world's first as far as we know, and Jane Gilbert was appointed in April to that task, and she's already working across government departments and coordinating not just existing efforts, but starting new collaborations, such as the Heat Health Task Force co-chaired by Dr. Cheryl Holder. Putting equal focus on our environment, back in January, Mayor Levine Cava appointed Irel Bagay as our country's first ever Chief Bay Officer. I know she's here. Sadly, it took the fish kills last summer to really wake people up about how in danger that bay is. And so the commission, even in Tallahassee, unanimous votes in the legislature to put significant hundreds of millions of dollars toward this effort, and Arella has promised to bring home every one of those. But acting on the commission's on this, she is spearheading a lot of different initiatives, both at the state level with now state commission, our own commission on the health of the bay. The commission has moved forward with the new fertilizer regulations, since it's the nutrient issue, which is so huge in the bay from different sources, fertilizer being one of them. Generally our resilience efforts fall into two categories: adaptation, or otherwise adjusting to our changing world, and mitigation, trying to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. On the adaptation side, some of our many initiatives that you're probably reading about include resilient building design, seawalls, nature-based solutions, flood-proofing, and a huge one is the conversion from septic to sewer. We've got 120,000 properties in this county still on septic, and we're working hard. In fact, we already have a plan with more that has identified 1,000 properties that really can be right on the edge of getting there. And in fact, as some of you know, we hired a new director for water sewer, Roy Coley, who comes with extensive experience in this field during his years at the Florida Keys Aqueduct Authority when they went completely off septic, as well as my public works director in Miami Beach, doing a lot of the leading roles on resiliency and climate change initiatives. Earlier this year, the county launched our sea level rise strategy, outlining approaches to living with more water. This spring, the county's Office of Resilience has held a series of community workshops in the Little River adaptation area to help residents better deal with climate change. On Earth Day, the mayor released a draft of our new climate action strategy to cut greenhouse gases emissions 50% by 2030, Obviously, the private sector plays a critical role in that, and another area where you can help us. So far this very month, the county's Office of Resilience has had 3 community workshops for resident input on the strategy, and the next one will be on June 30th at 6 p.m. You can go online and get information if you want to participate. We also, as a government, practice what we preach. We recently announced the purchase of what will be one of the largest electric bus fleets in the nation. Actually, they wrote it wrong. Once we get those delivered, we will have more electric buses than any other bus fleet in the United States. We already have busy plans to make Port Miami the first port on the East Coast to host shore power, not just at one terminal, but hopefully eventually at all 10. The mayor has set aggressive goals to convert the rest of our vehicle fleet to electric by 2030 and expand the public access vehicle charging network. And then we're obviously working for high efficiency in our own buildings. Our water sewer department has, for several years now, had a commitment to all kinds of resiliency upgrades at the WASD facilities in response to both rising seas and storm surge. And in fact, for that effort, was recently recognized as Utility of the Future for these successful initiatives by a series of national water sector organizations. How can you help? Obviously, collaborating with the Chamber Committee on Septic Sewer, Sea Level Rise, Greenhouse Emissions. Work with the Banking and Finance Committee to create a resilience loan program. One of the big gaps is that private property owners, homeowners, often there is no PACE funding or anything similar for things like seawalls or floodproofing. So trying to create some sort of vehicle there. Work with the Real Estate Committee on the BE 305 challenge to reduce your own gas emissions. Support the Resilient 305 strategy in both in terms of supporting the government efforts and carrying out those in the private sector. Advocating at a federal level and a state level for increased funding for all kinds of these infrastructure investments. Obviously, there's talk a lot in Washington about a big infrastructure bill, and making sure that those funds, that when they talk about infrastructure, they're talking about a variety of things from above ground storm pumps, generators, to underground piping, to seawalls, and also to green initiatives, blue and green initiatives that are going to be critical here. We're going to have a lot of applications to the state for the $600 million, I think it's a $611 million fund for septic to sewer. Tell your local state our local delegation they need to be front and center in making sure we get our fair share as the largest county here on that issue. Transportation is the last, but certainly not the least of these. I do want to recognize Alice Bravo, who's here, because a lot of the initiatives I'm going to talk about, the past director, started under her watch, and the SMART plan. Many of you remember for years the biggest issue was with our transportation was who goes first. And in a commission of 13 single-member districts, it was often challenging which line would go first. And I think some of the genius of the SMART plan, I know with Alice and the previous mayor, was to say they're all moving. They may be moving at different directions, at different paces, based on funding and whatnot, but they're all moving forward. And so that SMART plan is really moving on that basis. Javier mentioned the South Corridor. We have broken ground on what is a premium BRT line, $300 million investment, funded 1/3 federal, 1/3 state, 1/3 local. Plus, we just received recently another $30 million of ARP money for that project, which is going to be very helpful. And that will literally, at the end, you will be able to hop on a bus in Florida City, rapid bus, and in an hour be at the Stephen P. Clark Government Center downtown. Complete game changer for folks who live south but work north. We talked about the North Corridor, which is that line heading north up Northwest 27th Avenue up to the stadium and the Broward line. We've advertised a P3 contract last year that would involve design, permitting, financing, turnkey operation. Phase 1 proposals were submitted in September. Phase 2 technical proposals are due in the fall. The funding breakdown here, which could be, this is a project of anywhere from 1.2 to 1.9 billion dollars. We're looking to have 50% federal or more. We're working very closely with Congresswoman Frederica Wilson, who'd like to see it go potentially as high as 80% federal, 25% state, and then whatever remaining local. The Northeast Corridor, some of you know where the Bright Line is on the old FEC line. We're working there to try to create a Northeast commuter corridor. We have put out an RFLI for station locations in February. We received, I think, 6 proposals. We've submitted for a federal infra grant in March. We submitted our NEPA, our environmental and due diligence checklist in May to the federal government. We're in ongoing negotiations with Brightline for access to the corridor. And the funding breakdown there will hopefully be 50% federal, 25% state, 25% local. This is about a $450 million project. And we're hoping also maybe to work with Tri-Rail and see if they can put some significant dollars in here. We have an east-west corridor, phase 1 prime premium BRT between Tamiami Station, the MIC. Again, we're moving down similar paths of federal state funding. Hopefully this could be a small starts application if it's under $300 million. And then the beach corridor, obviously Miami Beach is not only a tourist destination, but as a result, it's also a significant generator of employment in this community and often hard to get to. People take 2-3 buses to get over there. That went forward in October as an interim agreement to try to do pre-development on a P3 basis. If all goes well, design and construction would start in the fall of 22. And this includes an overhaul of Metro Mover to upgrade the system, the entire system, and it needs it badly, and create switches so you could do a one-stop ride from the government center to what will be called the Herald Plaza on this side. And the goal is a 15 to 17-minute ride from the Stephen P. Clark Center to 5th and Washington. Again, a huge game changer for those who are commuting and also even for our visitors. We're also doing, as you may hear, we'll be rolling out a better bus network to prioritize, and the way we call it a better bus, our system now is geared on how much geography you can cover. That doesn't necessarily mean you're serving the most people, because the two biggest, we did a survey of people about what would cause you to take more public transportation. Pricing, like 6% or something. The two by far was number one, if it was reliable, had a frequency, and number two, if it took us to the places we want to go and like to go. And so here we're trying to restructure our bus system to really focus and create the frequency to move the largest number of people to those places everyone really wants to go. We'll be doing some enhancement to that as we go forward, but some other communities have done it and have seen ridership really go up, whereas we've seen, as you know, in recent years, ridership going down. So hopefully this will allow us to get there. And then the other thing, obviously, is we recognize that buses and trains and cars are not the only way people move around, and we need to create an environment where it's safe to walk, it's safe to bike. We see young people on electric scooters. People are moving around in different ways, and our Vision Zero program is to make sure that people who want to do that, and hopefully more, that gets them out of the car just as easily, will feel safe enough to do that. What can you do to help? Obviously, lobby our state and federal officials to put more dollars. Streamline, another big one is streamline the process to get federal dollars. One of the reasons sometimes transportation gets bogged down is people say, well, it's a 10-year program if you're lucky, and people never even get started. If we could streamline that process, and we will have shovel-ready projects. And then also lobbying the federal government to increase the share that federal dollars can be of projects. They limit the percentage sometimes, which really puts the pressure often on local governments. So a lot is going on. Much more will continue to go on. Again, I said we didn't start this process, but we're diving in, and one of the things we're doing is to try to have a department that, while it's also focusing on rail and moving cars, will now also really focus on all the alternative modes of transportation. As manager, I came from a city where 10% of the people actually walk to work. A higher percentage bicycle, a lot of people on those scooters, and it's not that you're ever going to get rid of cars, and it's not that you're ever going to get rid of traffic. I lived in Boston and New York without a car, DC. I rode a train. There were a lot of traffic, but as long as you create options for people, you can move the cars, move the people, and have a truly sustainable and resilient community. Without any further ado, I believe he's in the waiting room or the green room. Just want to say, I want to introduce Eulois. Eulois will be the new director and CEO of the department starting August 2nd. I wish he would come sooner, but he wanted to give them adequate notice to leave and whatnot. As Javier mentioned, he's currently the executive director of the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure for City County in Denver. Prior to that, he was actually number 2 at the Greater Houston-Galveston Metropolitan Planning Organization. And in years prior, he worked for the U.S. Department of Transportation and the District of Columbia Transportation. He's had extensive experience in that area. He currently serves as the national president of the National Association of City Transportation Officials, so he truly is a leader. And he's the president for Colorado of the Conference of Minority Transportation Officials. We're excited to bring him here to South Florida. And so without any further ado, if you're there, Eulois, say hello.
Hello, thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate the introduction, and I appreciate meeting everybody virtually, and hopefully in a couple of months, I get the chance to meet many of you in person. And I cannot wait to leave the frigid region and state of Colorado to come down and enjoy the sand and the beaches there, even though it is 86 degrees today. So, and hopefully when I get down in South Florida, I will not be confused with Javier or Rick. But I am looking forward to the opportunity to work with the Chamber and to really advance a lot of the transportation-related initiatives that Jimmy made mention of and that Mayor Levine Cava is very focused on, which is really figuring out ways to move people, products, and goods in the most safe and efficient manner possible, with the bent on equity and sustainability. And so these are things that are very passionate as a part of my leadership here, not only in Denver, but through all the different stops that I've had throughout my career. And I'm blessed to have the opportunity to come down and lead the Miami-Dade County Department of Transportation and Public Works in that fashion. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you to make those goals come to fruition. And so I'll keep my remarks brief. I think Jimmy made mention of all of the programs, projects, initiatives, and services that we're planning to enhance. And it's all in an effort to make Miami-Dade County a much better place to live, work, and play. So thank you very much for your time, and look forward to meeting each and every one of you in person.
Thank you, Eulois. Let me just close by saying this is an organization that's all about collaboration, input, circle leadership. I can tell you, I'd known Daniela for many, many years and never had the chance to work directly. If there's one thing she's about, is inclusion, is outreach, input, and circle leadership. So I think, I'm not sure you'll ever have a mayor sitting on that 29th floor who wants you to be her partner in getting things done. She really cares about every corner of this community, every segment of our society, and I think we're at a special time, which is ultimately what really drew me. I always wanted to be on that 29th floor, but boy, the chance to come at a time to make a real difference. And this is it. And Rick, I think we're up to the challenge to work with you and get things done. All right? I give it back to you all. Thank you.
Jimmy, thank you for your comments, and thank you for the service you provide to this community and the roles you've played over the number of years. So we thank you for what you do. I also want to thank Eulois. I know is he in Denver? He's in Denver? Still in Denver, and I got a chance to meet him, I think a week or so ago, and thoroughly impressed with him. And I think he's going to be fantastic for this community to help continue to navigate and enhance our transportation, because that's going to be key for our business community, ensuring our folks are able to get back and forth throughout this community. So again, thank you all for your enlightening commentary, your insightful remarks. The future, as you all know, the future of Miami is bright. Not only bright, but we're in a perfect direction. So I want to bring that to you all's attention, that we have a lot of work to do. So, but before we adjourn, I do want to leave everyone with a few reminders. Now, our fearless leader, Alfred, has already indicated that individual tickets for Sand in My Shoes are now available, okay? I think, is there a link for them? Because I don't want them tackling you outside the doors here, coming to get you. But individual ticket sales for Sand in My Shoes are available. And guys, we are honoring one of Miami-Dade's brightest leaders. I mean, he has given tirelessly to this community, not only as an editor, but for our children in this community. And so we're honoring Mr. David Lawrence Jr. Those sales, again, the availability of those tickets are available online now. See the screen behind for more details. Also a reminder to tune in tomorrow, June 25th, for our candid conversation with our U.S. Chamber. I was going to say CEO Susan, but it's not Susan, it's Neil Bradley. I want to make sure I got my notes right. Neil Bradley and Florida Chamber CEO Mark Wilson on what the business community has to do in preparation for next year. So for more details, how to register for tomorrow's session, check out the events tab on the website at miamichamber.com. I do want to say this. I thank you for your support. Let's get to work. And so we're adjourned for lunch. Yes, sir. What did I forget? What? Oh, okay. Let me, and that was not on purpose. Charge it to my mind and not my heart. So, but before we go, seriously, the number one, today's event, the number one title sponsor, Pfizer, has a raffle. Y'all did hear me say for today's event, Pfizer, our title sponsor, they do have a raffle. So I'm gonna bring, come on, Jane, come on. I'm now gonna turn it over to you before we adjourn. But I did forget my friend.
So before we run the raffle, and I got my friends back there in the comms booth, I guess they're gonna give us a quick help and hand on this. I wanna bring up Mr. Alfred Sanchez because I'm standing here because of this guy. When I went to choose the chamber as our community partner, I make it a point to meet every CEO before Pfizer invests any money, and we always try to make sure we're at the right level, which is the champion level. And so I want to get you geared out with not only the hat and a bunch of tchotchkes inside, but so that as you come to and from work, there's inside here another ledger and some other good things. I just want to say thank you. You're innovative, and I love that about you. So that being said, we're going to give 3 raffles away. You guys ready to spin the wheel? Yeah? So I just go and do the first one. Who's number 3 on my raffle? So this is called the Wheel of Names. Everybody who's was in here is now on this wheel. So that wheel is spinning. The first we're going to call out, you'll see their names will be, who is that? Oh, here it comes. Aaron Dowd. Where's Aaron at? Is Aaron still here? Come on down.
Come on up, Aaron.
Spin the wheel, guys. Number 2, spin it. And by the way, for you business owners, if you don't have this app, you need to get it to run your raffles, right? This is awesome app. All right. Jessica Fernandez, come on down. Come on, Jessica. All right. And last but not least, our top one. And by the way, Rick, this is how it's done. In case you wanted the number 1 spot for sponsorship, this is how it's done, man. I'm just saying. Oh. All right, come on down. So with that, there is this playful banter that Rick and I have, and I am looking forward, as a Pfizer to Career Source relationship, looking forward to more of our banter, my friend.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Again, thank you to Pfizer for their support to the chamber. And again, with that, we are adjourned. Again, thank you all for your support.